Speak clean.
You know what it is, guys. Too high for TV, where two guys get too high and talk about a little bit too much TV.
Just a little bit.
And gosh darn it, man, that's the 50th time that we've
Crazy.
That's the 50th time that we've said that.
Holy shit. 50 times, man. In a row without ever missing a week.
Exactly. We've never missed a single week, guys.
We've been doing the show for over a year, but somehow we've only done 50 weeks.
Well, I mean 51 technically because we did like a bonus episode.
Oh, yeah.
But
true,
that doesn't
true,
count in
yeah.
the main line of.
Oh, yeah. I forgot it. Yeah, that's right. We
So
did
this
do a
is-
bonus episode.
This is official episode number 50.
The bonus episode is non-canon.
Yeah, it's non-canon. It
No,
doesn't
it
count.
doesn't
You know,
count. No.
it's like Star Wars Legends. You know, like
Yeah.
some of it is canon, some of it's not. That's
Yeah,
the part that's
100%.
not canon.
Dude, you know what I saw that I'm extremely excited for? I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but I'm pretty sure you've heard of it. You heard the Star Wars holiday special?
Yes.
Okay, so Disney Plus is releasing a documentary about the
Ooh, okay.
making of the holiday special. And even within the trailer of them, they're like, yeah, this shit was bad. We don't know why we let this happen, but we did, so we're going to talk about it.
Exactly.
I'm
I mean,
so excited.
you have to at that point. It's like it happened. You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
You can't just.
That you can erase it from Star Wars canon, but you can't erase it from the people's minds.
You can't
man.
erase it from their hearts, bro.
Definitely
Like,
not.
You know, it's.
It is.
You can't do it, dude.
I
it's
did.
a heart, bro.
I did see it, and it is
Terrible.
Oh, it's bad. Yeah, but it's fun to watch. Like it's fun to see how terrible it is. You know. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like kind of in line with what we're talking about. Like there's something like Rocky 5.
Yeah.
That's not a good Rocky movie.
Yeah.
But
I kind of still love to watch it though. In either way.
Yeah. I'm still gonna watch it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm still gonna wait for that street fight at the end, even though it's like, what are two professional boxers doing? Just street fighting.
Street boxing. Yeah.
And everyone around them, including the police, are like, "Yeah, let's get it.
you get him, Rocco.
Let's go, Rocco."
Yeah.
But you
Good
know, I'm
shit.
still gonna watch it, man.
We're still
gonna
here
watch
for it. You got to be.
Oh, here for episode 50, man. We gotta freaking, you know.
Smack open
It's
some
pretty
brewskis.
rare that, you know, we sip on the Too High for TV podcast,
Yeah, it
but
doesn't happen very often.
it's episode 50. Here,
Here,
you need a lighter.
I got a bottle opener actually.
Oh, this
here,
guy.
on the keychain.
This guy.
Oh, look at this guy though,
Dude,
Schmacking it
ever
with
since I learned how to do that, I don't need
it's too satisfying.
dude, I don't need cheers,
Cheers,
brother,
brother.
to 50 freaking
to
episodes.
50. Gotta love me some
Pacifico.
insert brand name here. Oh yeah, Pacifico. Are we allowed to say that? I don't know how
see
that
why
works.
not. I don't see why
We're
not.
we're not monetized yet. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean,
This is just
yeah, we're not.
we're not monetized yet.
Yeah, we're not.
Come
yet.
after us, Pacifico.
Dude. You know who who I'd love to be like sponsored by?
Hmm.
Jaritos, bro.
Oh,
Dude,
that'd be fire.
if we got a
Holy
Jaritos,
shit.
if you're out there and you happen to be listening to this,
If you're looking for a sponsor, we'll plug you all
oh
day
my gosh,
long.
guys,
Pause.
every time. So when I go to lunch, and every time I go to El Griences in Hollister, shout
Yeah.
out LGs, you
Hell yeah.
guys from the Hollister area
You know
or
where
anywhere
it's at.
around that, you know what's good. But okay, apparently there's El Griences just like everywhere. But
Oh, for sure.
for all my Hollisterians out there
Hollisterians.
and my San Benito County members, you know what's good.
Yeah.
But every time I go there, you know, I get either some tacos, a burrito, a quesadilla. Gotta pair it with the Jaritos, man. Like shameless plug. Like we're not sponsored by them, we're
No,
not
but
drinking
you
them, but
gotta
they're
love it.
so fucking good, bro.
Here's my question to you. Were you like me and did you just fuck with like the fresa when you were a kid and then you started branching out, or have you been drinking like all the types of Jaritos since you were young?
I think when I was young, I was very much anything that had like dye color in it. I was
Yeah.
like red.
Yeah,
Red's my
okay,
thing, you know.
same,
So I
yeah.
definitely did like the fruit punch and like the
red.
strawberry.
Yeah, the tutti frutti.
But I was always a fan of lime.
Okay.
Lime is
fuck with the lime
Yeah, I
Jaritos?
fuck with the lime
Yeah,
Jaritos.
okay.
But I have since then branched out for sure. Like I'll fuck with the tamarind.
Yeah,
the
that one's
freaking-
good. The
ma-
naranja's good. The
orange
one.
The
Yeah.
mandarin is also really
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
I fucked with the guava, like the guava one before. That one was pretty
Oh,
fire.
I think I've only tried that once. I never got one for myself. Just had a sip of.
I was messing with it, bro. I was
Yeah.
like,
Okay. You want to tell you got some Hannibal Lecter on that shit or what?
Clarice.
Clarice.
But yeah, dude.
Try this
Jaritos,
flavor of Jaritos, Clarice.
you don't like the lemon lime, Clarice?
Clarice, you must try the guava flavor.
He walks in, he goes, "You had the pink guava Jaritos today,
Yeah.
Clarice."
You could just smell it on her. Yeah, it took me a minute to branch out, but there's a lot of good ones. We should just do like a taste. We should do like a flight of Jarritos. Just try every flavor, and then you guys can sponsor us.
So I was telling Caleb about the idea that you had about
Oh yeah, the host.
the
Yeah.
host episode, and he said he's down.
Hell yeah.
He's
Okay.
he's like, but we got to get drunk for the episode, and I was like, I don't know about that.
We don't have to get drunk.
I don't know about
Caleb,
that,
but we
dude.
can have some drinks. We don't have to get drunk.
But he also talked about like he was like, oh, we could make some steaks too. So I was like, dude, we should have like
live episode,
a
making
live
some steaks?
episodes. You know, making
Sounds
some
cool, man.
steaks, talking to Caleb.
Yeah.
Caleb talking to us.
Yeah, dude.
You guys have never met Caleb before, but
Caleb's
you
a
guys
cool guy.
will meet Caleb, and
100%.
he is a character, and I love that guy.
I'm sure he's gonna bring a lot to whichever episode he decides to join up on, because homeboy knows a lot about movies.
Oh yeah.
I imagine he does, anyways. Haven't had a full-fledged conversation with him necessarily, but he went to film school, so you know it's gotta be something right there.
He is a film guy. He films stuff.
He does.
Ooh, nice
Yeah,
little
the
burp.
burps.
Dude, yesterday I had 2 beers.
Nice.
And I was feeling fucking good, bro. Like
Yeah.
I was very much like,
Nice
I
little
was pretty
after
buzzed.
work
I was pretty buzzed. Yeah.
buzz, yeah.
I went to the bar with Efren yesterday. Shout out to F. Went to him with the bar after work. Hadn't seen him in a while, so I wanted to hang out.
Nice.
Shoot some pool, drink some beers, you know, catch up with the homies, see what he's doing. You know, it's your homies. You got to catch up with your homies. You got to
Yeah,
talk
man.
to your homies, you know?
Yeah.
And so yeah, we were there. I literally just had 2 beers. And when I sat in my car, I was like, dang, I am hungry as fuck right now, bro. So literally, luckily, Jack in the Box is like 30 seconds away.
We're like, we're here for you.
Yeah, so I freaking,
Got some Jack in the Crack?
dude, ultimate cheeseburger vibes.
Hell yeah.
2 tacos.
Hell yeah.
Some freaking chicken nuggets, bro.
Sick
Like I
shit,
was
dude.
getting down. Curly fries.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
and I munched all that, dude. And it's been a while since I like went to Jack in the Box. I was like, all right, I'm gonna fucking pig out, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
just-
Fuck it.
I used
Sometimes
to
you
do
got to.
I used to do it all the time in high school, and like just after getting out of high school.
High school body's different though. Can absorb all of that like a lot
Straight up.
better than nowadays. Yeah.
And I like walked into the Jack in the Box. I didn't go into the drive-thru because there was like a fuck ton of people.
Yeah.
And as I was walking in, like there were so many just loud ass motherfuckers
Oh, yeah.
in the line, and I was like, damn, I for sure have been one of these people, and I feel sorry for the people that
have to deal with it.
gonna have to deal with
It's
this
like,
shit.
God damn it, will you quiet down? It's a public place. But hey, you know, it's a good time at Jack in the Box. Most of the time I feel like you're probably going there after having a few drinks or so, you know?
Yeah.
Or end
It's
of the
so
night
good
smoking after you've been baked all night or something, you know?
Yeah, after you have put some foreign substances
Yeah.
into your body,
Mm-hmm.
Jack in the Box is like might as well be like a 5-star. Like no,
Yeah.
Michelin stars don't go up to 5. It goes up just to 3,
It
right?
hits like no other. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a 3-star Michelin
yeah,
restaurant.
it hits
when
like
you've-
no other, man.
Yeah. Oh my god.
They just have everything. It's like,
They
you
do.
want traditional fast food cheeseburger stuff? Go for it. You want to munch on some tacos really quick? You could do that
Dude,
too.
and there's no reason why tacos should be sold at Jack in the Box.
Well, they have teriyaki bowls there too, man. Like,
There's a lot of
Jack
things
in the
that
Box doesn't give a fuck. They're
They
just
don't.
gonna give you whatever. They have. You ever fuck with any of the munchie meals, bro?
Oh, 1,000%.
I love the
dude.
munchie meals,
1,000%.
bro.
They have one that has like hash browns and like mozzarella
Yeah.
sticks and shit in there. Oh,
Yeah, crazy.
that
good.
shit will fuck up your stomach, but in the moment,
It's
oh,
good.
it's so good.
You're gonna be hating
It's-
yourself later, but enjoying yourself now.
Honestly, like I sacrifice it every time. Like I don't know about you, but it's like, you know,
I don't
I
give a
know I'm gonna wake up in the morning and
Yeah.
my stomach is gonna be pissed off at me. But hey, my stomach's not pissed off at me right now. That's
No.
all I gotta say.
Yeah, it's like I'm not going in there with any illusions anymore. You know, like I maybe for a little while I was trying to kid myself, like it's cool, I can still eat Jack in the Box like I used to. It's fine. It's like no, nowadays I'm like, fuck it, you deserve this. All right, you're gonna have to handle it in the morning, but right now you deserve this.
Sometimes they be fiery too, bro, and it's like, God damn.
I'll get the cheesecakes from there too, dude. I fucking
See, I've never
love
been like a cheesecake guy.
in general.
It's so the idea, the word cheesecake
Sounds-
just never sounded appealing to me.
Okay,
And I was
I'm a
like,
big
what are you
cheese
talking
guy.
about? Cheese and cake. Like, see, I like cheese, but I'm not going to sit there and like eat the fuck out of it. You
Okay,
know?
so like a snack for me, like a genuine snack that I will fuck with hard. Again, really messes up your stomach. Can't recommend it. But there's I forgot what the company is, but there's a company that makes Parmesan cheese that comes in little chips, basically. Not like crunchy chips, mind you. Like sliced up pieces of Parmesan that are like in little squares that you just drizzle over the top of your spaghetti, whatever you want to do, right? As if it was regular Parmesan cheese. But they're like they're chip sized. So I'll just take the thing, pop the top off, and sit there in front of the fridge at like midnight and munch on like half that fucking bowl.
way,
Yeah. Parmesan, fire, bro. Like other cheeses are cool. Don't get me wrong. But for me, I could just eat Parmesan like a snack. Like when you get the triangles and stuff, you're going to catch like half of that thing gone by just me munching on slices of it, not putting it or grating
Okay,
it over anything.
okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The flakes and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, the flakes. There you go. That's a better word for them. Yeah. Yeah, dude, so good. I love cheese.
See, I can't do that.
Hella down with cheese.
Like I'll mess with some string cheese for sure, but I'm not gonna sit there and eat like 2 or 3 or 4 of them. Like I'm gonna have my one, and probably halfway through my one, I'm like,
Do I want to finish
do
this?
I really want to get through this last
Yeah.
half? Like but like quesadillas, I fuck with some quesadillas hardcore. Like I'll
Yeah.
warm up some cheese and put on some stuff,
Yeah.
1000%.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna sit there and eat like like cold Monterey Jack. Like
I mean,
I'm not really about
it's
that.
a little different, It's like there as soon as you like make it into like a dish, like more or less or whatever, I feel like it changes. You're not just eating the one ingredient. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like same. It'd be weird, like a cheeseburger, perfectly normal, right? But it'd be kind of weird if you just put cheese in between two buns. That's
Called
like
grilled cheese.
Yeah, but okay, I guess you're right there. Fair enough. It's just weird that you eat the cheese, all right?
Okay, if it's cold cheese, now we have a problem, right?
But who puts-
if you're just putting like non-toasted slices of bread,
yeah, and just cheese
in between, like, okay, we have to sit down and we have to have a conversation,
like a cheese sandwich.
yeah.
That's weirdly enough, I don't know if you ever watched these movies, but I'm sure you know who he is. Fucking Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you seen those?
I've never seen the movies, but I know the
Yeah, the
I know the
homeboy.
name.
The homeboy would eat cheese sandwiches. And at least in one of the movies, I remember very vividly. He walks into the fucking butcher shop, and the guy's like, or the sandwich shop, General Market, whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. It was back then. It's like the usual Pee Wee, and he's like, yeah, cheese sandwich with just cheese and bread or some bullshit. I don't know. He tries to say it all fancy or whatever, and I was like, so you just want a slice of cheese on some bread? Even I think that's weird. I'll eat cheese by itself, but I'm not gonna sully it by putting bread slices over it. That's insane.
Like, it's just like once you start to add something to it, it's like, okay, why you like, okay, like obviously you can put cheese in between like salami. Like I fuck with that. Like if you take some cheese and put it in between salami,
because you're basically doing like cheese and cracker plate. Like at that point, just minus the crackers.
But now once you start adding like stuff like bread to just plain cheese, it's like, all right, why don't you just add like
the turkey,
some salami,
meat,
some turkey,
whatever,
let's make an actual sandwich here.
Yeah, for sure.
Or why don't we just make a grilled cheese at that point?
Yeah, toast the bread, toast the cheese.
Like, if I'm Pee Wee Herman's friend and you're going into the sandwich shop with me and you're like, cheese sandwich, just cheese and bread, I'm going to be like, okay,
you're doing
we're
this
not
wrong.
going to lunch together anymore.
You're doing this wrong, Pee Wee. Sorry, we can't be friends anymore.
All right, I'm going to spark up this Paletas 1.5 gram Moonrock blunt.
See if she lasts 30 minutes.
Shout out to Garrett. If you guys listened to it was last episode, right, where I ate the...
I think so, the peanut brittle.
Yeah, so if you guys listened to last episode, I had to leave in the middle of it because I had to get the peanut brittle. And when I came back and I ate the peanut brittle, that shit was motherfucking amazing. Mm-hmm. Shout out to the homie Garrett at work who makes that shit. You rock, brother.
Hell yeah, man.
I would not be able to take the time out of my day to make some infused peanut brittle.
No, you get down, bro.
Yeah, he gets down 1,000%. Now this guy, I trust his cannabis brain. I trust his cannabis knowledge.
He's got good smoking sensibilities.
Exactly. Me and him, we have similar tastes, and that's how I started to warm up to Garrett, right? Garrett, we love him. He is a little rough around the edges when you first meet him sometimes.
Sure. He's what I appreciate.
He means well.
I think what I've learned to appreciate about you, Garrett, if you're listening to this, is you don't beat around the bush, brother.
You don't, dude.
Fucking straight up. And maybe that at first when you don't know somebody, that can come off as abrasive, but I think once you get to know somebody and like you said, you realize the intent is good, I appreciate it. So thank you for your straightforwardness.
We love you, Garrett.
Hell yeah, brother.
So anyway, I'm at work yesterday. I'm getting some flour, and I'm like, I'm kind of thinking about a pre-roll. And as I'm looking at our pre-roll case, I'm like, nothing seems, too intriguing.
Our brand new locked up pre-roll case.
Our brand new locked up pre-roll case. Locked up.
They're imprisoned.
Exactly. But I saw the paletas, and I was like, I'm pretty interested in those. Let me know, Garrett. And he's like, these are fucking really good, man. And these, guess what? The 1.5 gram blunts, they burn for 30 minutes. 30 minutes?
That's a big claim. That's a long time.
You're telling me I could watch a full episode of freaking 30-minute meals with Rachel Ray, and by the time I
You
start
good
it,
to go?
and by the time I end it, it's gonna be done?
Still be smoking?
You telling me
Shoot.
by the time Rachel starts her meal and by the time she ends her meal, I'll finish this one blunt in that time span?
It's a bold claim.
So we're gonna test this out. It is exactly 7:35.
Yeah.
So by 8:05, I will give it to 8:01, 8:02.
Yeah, like
all right?
25 minutes.
Or we'll even give it a 5-minute buffer, right? If it's 25 minutes,
That's still pretty solid.
I'm with it.
Let's
But-
call it 8 o'clock.
Exactly.
If you're still burning by 8 o'clock, then this is a successful experiment.
Let's test this.
A successful smoking experiment.
But again, I think I also have to take in consideration, I've never smoked with Garrett before, so I don't know,
How he cheats.
is he a manic puffer? Is he sitting there like puffing like,
Who knows?
Is he sitting there, is he babying the blunt a little bit, he's sitting, he's just
Enjoying
letting
his time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
What kind of smoker are you, Garrett?
I think that's like a big difference between like a lot of different smokers. Like I learned that with my sister in the last couple of years. It's like I'm very much like, all right, let me smoke this really quick, so that I can get back to what I was doing. Whether it's like playing games or like trying to smoke a joint before we watch a movie, or something along those lines. Versus like my sister will just disappear into the garage for like 2 hours, and I'm like, damn, how much did you smoke? She's like, just like a joint. And I'm like, what? How'd you fucking make it last that long or whatever? It's like, put it down every once in a while, jump on your phone, put it back up, spark it and everything. It's like everybody goes at their own pace,
Yeah.
Gotta respect it.
I've been very much enjoying, like, I'll sit down outside, put my show on my phone, and I'll sit there and I'll, like, smoke and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Or if I'm, like, sitting and playing, like, video games or something, like, definitely that's the time where, like, a joint will take a while for me to, it's going to take a while because I'm going to hit it a few times, set it down on the ashtray, play some games, do a mission or two, and then I'm like, all right, let me spark this back up, do some side quests, smoke while I'm doing the side quests, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
But, we'll see how this goes.
See how she goes. I finished Hogwarts Legacy.
You did? You 100%ed everything?
No, I'm at 97 or 98.
Okay.
But I finished the story finally.
Okay. So
yeah.
you like did the house cup thing and everything. I still haven't done.
I didn't do the house cup, no.
I still haven't done that.
Yeah, I didn't know that was part of the story technically. It feels pretty wrapped up after, spoilers, after Professor Fig got his little memorial and everything.
Dude, so crazy. Right?
Yeah, I get what they were going for, It's like he's supposed to be the Dumbledore, so I guess they had to kill him off and everything. But I was a little bummed out about it. Yeah. I was like, okay, I get what you're doing. I don't think it's necessary, but I get it. I understand. You know what I thought, and I honestly would have been much more pleased with this? A theory that both me and my dad had. Don't listen to this, Dad, because I know you haven't finished the game yet. I was kind of hoping Fig was going to be a bad guy. Like the whole time, like he's like really randomly showing up right after you finish the trials. Like he's always like, what did you learn in there? Like right away and shit, I was kind of getting bad vibes for a second. I was like, you're really interested, but he was just a good teacher at the end.
He just really cared about his student.
He did, yeah. But I thought that would have been a fun twist, like introduce this like trustworthy, like Dumbledore-like character and everything that you like are used to from the books and the movies, and then just throw a little spin on it. Be like, no, actually, he's been working for the bad guy the entire time.
I think I thought about it for a second, but I was like, nah, like I don't think this dude, nah.
Yeah.
He just did it I think like I said, for a second I might have thought about it, but the more I kept playing, I was like, nah, this dude doesn't give off bad guy vibes,
Yeah, he's pretty basic, honestly. That's the one thing I will say about the story is that as much as I did enjoy it, I think a lot of the like what I'll call like the main 3 side quest lines I found to be a lot more interesting. Like the poacher thing with Poppy, the what's it called, tracking down like I guess more poacher shit with Natty, and then all of the dark arts shit with Sebastian. Yeah. I personally found all those stories to be like grabbing my attention a lot more than the main story did.
Exactly.
So that was like a little bit of a bummer. I'm glad I have access to both, obviously, but I was like, shit, like the writing on those is solid, bro.
Yeah, the Sebastian, like the side quest, like arc was for sure my favorite.
I think that's the best in the game. I think that's the best written quest for sure.
1000%.
Yeah, it's
like
pretty heartbreaking, dude. The ending, honestly, like I was like, oh fuck, they got down with this shit. Like it goes pretty hard,
dude.
Man.
Yeah, when you have to battle his freaking his uncle,
yeah.
that shit was fire.
He just fucking
I
kills
was
levels his ass?
I was fucking him up,
Oh
bro.
yeah,
I was
same.
fucking
I was
his
like
shit up,
really
bro.
over leveled at that point already, so like I was just kind of like smacking him with all these spells, like chucking him around the room and shit. And he's like, "Don't make me do this." I'm like, "Bro, you're not doing shit."
Dude, I was fucking that fool
Yeah,
up, bro.
yeah,
Because
it's
yeah,
funny.
I was by the time I got to that side quest, I was for sure like, if I wasn't like level 30 yet, I was like level 28, 29.
Yeah,
Like, and so I have pretty much all the spells unlocked except for Avada Kedavra.
yeah.
And like this dude's just trying to throw up his different colored shields, and I'm like,
Yeah, like I got one for every single one.
okay,
man.
which spell do you want me to use,
Come on, bro.
I can use all my spells.
Yeah, seriously.
And then I would just I'm a big fan of that blue potion where you can like where it speeds up the cooldown
Oh,
of
the focus potion.
The focus potion.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I forgot
yeah,
the name
for
of
sure.
it.
Mhm.
Where it speeds up the cooldown. Then if you upgrade it, if you keep just using your big spells, it just fills them back up right
More
away.
and more, yeah.
Yeah, just
hell
super fast.
You
And
just
then
keep smacking them with the big.
and then the time of the focus potion will go up a little bit.
Oh, okay, nice.
So
Yeah.
like you can, if you're like really good, you can just keep fucking. You
Yeah.
can just have that shit going for like a long ass
just
time.
loop it and loop it.
Yeah.
Crazy
So I was
shit.
big. I was big on that spell, the focus potion, and then the Maximus, the make your spells like
Stronger. Yeah, you like do more damage and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, because then
Yeah.
your regular attack just can take out any shield
Yeah.
when you use that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Fucking some
didn't.
fools up.
I didn't fuck with the potions very hard. Like I definitely set up my potion room in the room of requirement just because I'm like a design freak and like went super ham on my room of requirement. No cap, bro. Pretty proud of my room of requirement.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, like I would be more than happy to show you what that shit looks like because I'm pretty proud. I think that
Dude.
shit looks like a legit ass little room, bro.
Mine looks like shit, low key. Nah, I mean just because me, like when you walk in, I just have like all my freaking potion stations set up.
Yeah.
And then to the room to the left, I have basically just all my plant stuff set up
Okay.
in there. And then I have like the little freaking the loom thing where you upgrade all
Yeah,
your
yeah,
gear.
yeah, most
like
definitely.
I have that just like off by like
Yeah.
one of the windows, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I went full on design, bro. Like maybe it's just because like I'm a product of like I was a Minecraft kid, pretty hardcore, like
Okay.
back in the day, so like always been into like build your own home, build your own base type of shit or whatever. But yeah, like I went off, bro. Once I finished the main story, I just like I don't know if this happens after you finish the main story or before, but there's like another section that opens up. At least for me, it opened up after the game was over, like in that room to the left. And I was like, oh, damn, even more space to make shit? Perfect, bro. Like, let me keep going in here and shit like
Wait,
that.
so there's 3 rooms?
Not like a whole nother room, but like, the room to the left, like right when you walk in, there's another space within that room that like expands open a little bit more. So if it hasn't happened yet, I'm sure if you go back to the room of requirement, there'll be another little
Probably.
section in there. Yeah.
I don't think I've been back since the end of
Yeah.
the end of the main quest.
Yeah, I finished. Well, pretty much. For the challenges, I finished it. My room of requirement thing is at 100%, but
Oh, damn.
technically for the trophy, I haven't. But I found and bred all the different animals and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I need to breed like one more. So do you need to breed just like one of each different type
Yeah.
of animal?
So
Okay.
it's one of each different type. I got a little confused at first because I was having this conversation with Diggs. It's like if you're just chasing after finishing the field guide, then I think it's technically only like 10, which is not like technically all of them or whatever.
Yeah, because it's 13.
Yeah,
right?
and you
Yeah.
can breed 12 of them. Because if I'm not mistaken, there's no other phoenixes in the game. There's just the one. But you can go back to the Graphorn Den
Oh yes.
and find another, like female or male, depending on what you found the first time around. So it's all the base ones basically, plus the Graphorn would get you like the trophy of like breeding all 12. Like that is possible or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it was kind of a head scratcher for me for a second because like it said in my field guide, right? Like 100%, like you did it, like you bred all the animals or whatever. And like I go into the trophy menu and I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Like, did it glitch on me or like, am I missing one? Like, what the hell's going on? And it's not a glitch. It's just very confusing. That's all.
Yeah, I need to go back and like just fly around and finish something. I still need to do. I think I still need to do some side quests.
Yeah.
Like, cause I think the last for like the quest I'm almost done. I just need to do the last, because you need to do like 32 side quests, which is like
Yeah.
the last one.
It's a lot.
I still need to finish those. The exploration I still need to finish. I still need to
too.
do the the last of like the ancient magic spots.
Oh,
I think,
yeah.
I think I only have like 2 or 3 more to do, and then I need to do the Merlin trials. I still have like 16.
Oh, the
of those
Merlin
too.
trials, yeah. The Merlin trials get a little. I wish there was just more variety of them after a while. Like at first, while you're starting them, it's pretty cool. Like it's like, oh, this one's new, this one's new. But then, by the time you get used to them, there's like what, maybe 5 or 6 different ones.
Dude, I would say my favorite like voice, just like
Like
little
the-
phrase that he
yeah,
says
yeah.
is when you go up and he goes, "Oh, a Merlin trial." Like, that shit's
It's like so cheesy, bro. Yeah, I know exactly
it's
which one
so
you're talking
funny,
about.
bro.
Oh,
my
God, I
dude,
love it. Yeah,
love that
he's
shit.
such a snarky little shit too, because like he finishes them and he's like, "Wasn't so tricky after all, was it, Merlin?"
Or when you do the ancient magic spots, and he's like, "I wish someone was here to watch
Yeah,
this." It's
dude,
like,
he's
dude, what
like,
do you mean, bro?
Oh, dude, you know which
I'm right
one
here.
cracked me up the other day was I had just finished the Sebastian Sallow quest line, right? And at the end of it, I had decided to turn him in. Like I was like, all right, bro, like you are my homie.
too.
I feel for you, but you fucking killed your uncle, dog. Like you gotta
You
live-
killed your uncle, dog.
Yeah, you killed your uncle, dog, bro. You don't kill your uncle, dog. And so that happened or whatever, right? And I'm like out in the world side questing, and like I just like schmack a bandit camp really quick, and then he's all, "Oh, I wish Sebastian was here to see that." And I was like, "Oh, that's awkward line now."
I know.
Just put him in prison.
I do kind of still wish though because after I made that decision, I'm like, damn, I do kind of want to learn about a cadaver, low key.
Yeah, because I didn't know, but like even if you refuse to learn them in the quest line, he's just chilling in the Undercroft, and you can go there and be like, "Hey, by the way, actually, I do want to learn this spell." So if you don't turn him in, I assume they're available to learn at any time. But if you turn him in, yeah, he's not there anymore. Yeah, I tripped out on that because like I thought I had like missed a part of the quest when we just finished it or whatever, and he was just kind of walking around down there. So I was like, "Fuck, do I need to talk to him again or what?" And I did, and all the options were like, "Hey, I think I do want to learn dark magic after all. Can you teach me the Cruciatus curse or whatever?" It's like, oh shit, okay. They left that option open for you.
He's like, "Oh yeah, bro, I know, I like just killed my uncle and everything, but yeah, I'll teach you, bro."
Yeah, for sure.
I got
Let
you,
me show
dude.
you real fast, man. Yeah.
Just the only reason I want to is because when you have that ability, like Diggs was saying, when you curse like all the different people,
Oh, yeah.
and then you hit them with the Avada Kedavra,
instant kill.
it kills all of them.
Yeah,
dude.
it's insane. I've seen the builds online, and it does look pretty wild. I'm like a very like role player kind of character, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have any points in dark magic whatsoever, but you
Damn.
can bet your ass when I start a Slytherin one or whatever, they're all instantly going right into dark magic right away. I'm gonna be killing motherfuckers left and right.
I have some dark magic ones because they're honestly they're pretty useful because some of your like red spells will turn
Yeah.
into curses technically.
Count, right? Yeah,
So
for sure.
then like when you hit someone with like an Expelliarmus, now they take more damage because they're a curse.
Yeah,
now
it
they're
like links
fucking
them
cursed.
up to the other guy. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I fuck with that. And then there's also like another one where if you curse somebody and then you hit them and someone's close to them, it'll deflect off to them.
Oh, nice.
And then so it'll curse more people.
Nice. Hell yeah. Little
So-
splash damage
Yeah.
type of shit. Yeah.
Dude. I mean, all the customization with the spells is fucking super
Oh, it's
awesome,
too
man.
fun. Yeah, it's way too fun. I finally like got like used to just switching between all the spell slots and stuff, you know? So I stopped like worrying about like what I had on. I just made sure to put like as many spells on there as possible, and I was just like, fuck it. Like I know where they are now. Like my fingers have the muscle memory to jump from page to page and shit. So it's pretty fun. It's a good time.
Let's do a check-in on this blunt. It has been exactly 13 minutes.
She's
and
still
I'm
going pretty strong.
still going pretty strong.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm halfway through it, but
No, I'm
she's
impressed
still-
though.
She's still going,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not like babying it, but I'm also not like puffing hella hard
Yeah,
on it, you
for
know.
sure. It's a nice
It's
little
a balance.
pace. Yeah.
Balance.
Nice easy pace.
Find your balance.
Find your balance.
Oh
Why
shit,
does that
sorry.
feel like a, I don't know, like a water purifier, like commercial or something, you know?
Damn, it's for sure a Travis Scott lyric.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Find your balance.
Yeah, I forget what song it is because it's from his album Birds in the Trap Sing by McKnight. Birds in the Trap Sing at McKnight by McKnight. I think pretty sure it's by McKnight. What song is it? I can't remember what song it is.
Travis Scott.
But he says balance, find your balance.
Find your balance.
Silence is my silence. Sprinkler season on silent. Fuck. I forget what he says, but in that song he also says, "Stroke my cactus."
Stroke my cactus. Whoa, hey, Hey, Travis Scott.
That shit's just too funny because it's very
Fuck.
much. He says a line, then he goes, "Stroke my cactus." And I'm just like, yeah, this shit's fair.
It's like, I know what you're doing.
Have you like never listened to Travis Scott before?
I don't think so. I want to say I've heard songs that he's featured on because, like, I know I've seen featuring Travis Scott at like the end of certain songs and stuff before.
I
But
would say that's an artist for sure. Listen to
okay,
1000%.
Travis Scott.
Days Before Rodeo. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if that's on like Spotify or Apple Music. I'm not like a super crazy like Travis Scott fan, but like Days Before Rodeo is really good. You can find that on SoundCloud. That's
Okay.
like the project that was like, oh yeah, this is Travis Scott, and he has like songs like fucking like drugs you should try them and shit like that. And really fucking like production, like really solid production, like a lot of like really synthy, like a lot of deep like the Moog basses and shit like that,
for
like
sure.
awesome. And then personally my favorite album that I like is The Birds in the Trap Sing by McKnight. And because I remember like the first time listening to it, like I love albums that literally just flow together. Like I don't know when like the song ends and the song starts. Like the transitions are all really good. Like the songs lead into each other.
Yeah.
He had like surprise features on there. Like when you looked at the album, like he didn't have any features
In the
like
names,
listed.
yeah, cool.
But he had like he had freaking Andre 3000. He had Kendrick.
Sick.
Like Young Thug. Freaking who else did he have? Nav. Like when Nav wasn't like super popular yet. Like hella like
That's cool.
That shit was fire.
Yeah, throw
That shit
little
was hi-fi.
curveballs and shit.
Yeah.
Fi-fi.
It's
Fi-fi, dog.
I don't like that I say that shit, but I say it.
But it was
because it's funny.
What are you gonna say, man? It was fi-fi, you know. What do
Exactly.
you say?
But all right, so let's get into episode 50. You know, guys,
Yeah.
we didn't come with like our normal two things we're gonna talk about.
We technically have like 2 movie things to talk about and 2 TV things to talk about, but they're just gonna be at random.
We're just gonna talk
Just
about
gonna
a lot
talk
of
about
shit.
them, you know.
Like this year is just a super solid year for TV and movies, just already.
Yeah, first quarter's been good, man.
First quarter's been super solid. The Last of Us just ended yesterday.
Heavy duty.
Heavy duty, man. The Mandalorian just started.
Just getting started.
Just started 2 weeks ago. We're barely gonna be on episode 3, and we had Creed that came out.
Creed 3 was solid.
Cocaine Bear.
Awesome movie.
Quantum Mania,
Yep.
which to
I enjoyed
to
it.
each their own on that one. To each their own.
Of course.
Yeah, and we have so much more coming out. Freaking John Wick is in May.
John Wick Chapter 4. Guardians comes out in May.
Guardians comes out. We have new Transformers in
Oh,
June.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That'll be fine.
Solid stuff. We have Invincible coming later this year.
Oh, God. Who knows? I have a theory that's going to get pushed back to 2024. Yeah. They said they didn't give us an official confirmation date. He literally makes a joke about it because the commercial, the latest trailer that we got for Invincible was pretty meta. You know, it's like Mark and whatever Seth Rogen's alien character name is, I can't remember. Like sitting at the diner and he's like, "So where you been, man? What's going on?" He's like, "Oh, you know, production design, animation, blah blah blah, this and that. It takes a long time, blah 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 blah." And then he's like, "Well, when's the new season coming out?" And he's like, "The end of this year, fall, probably, most likely." So like, I have a feeling they like put this teaser out to like kind of scratch the itch a little bit, but in reality, they're probably holding another delay back.
I can see that. But I can also see them just like also knowing how popular of a show it is and just like, okay, let's just dive back in real quick to pique the interest of everybody again.
Yeah.
And then we'll surprise drop it on them or something like that. Or maybe they, because like they pretty much announced like fairly early in season 1 that like season 2 and 3 got
we're gonna
greenlit.
happen. Yeah, for sure.
So me personally, like obviously I don't know like the behind the scenes of everything like that. I know animation takes a long time. But it's not like they have like a lot of story to write out. They are
they're just adapting.
They're adapting like the comic and stuff like that. Granted, they are changing like a good amount, like
They're,
not
like,
a good amount of the
streamlining.
story, but like, you know, they're changing characters, they're updating the story because it is, you know, content wise, and you know, a lot of things that are like jokes and stuff that were in the original comic are definitely like
a little insensitive.
not okay nowadays.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
you know, they're definitely updating that. But to me, I don't think you greenlit 2 and 3 if you don't at least have like 2 sort of ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say I would prefer because I don't want to wait as long as I had to between 1 and 2. So if 2 gets delayed,
One come out?
I think that was like 2019 to been a couple. I think it's been a few years at this point. Maybe
2019.
2020. But I would prefer if season 2 got delayed so that season 2 could end, and then within a year we get season 3, as opposed to they rush 2 out and then I have to wait like another 2 or 3 years for season 3 to come out. You know, like give the next 2 to me back to back, man. I don't want to wait as fucking long as we had to. That shit took days.
2021.
2021. Okay, yeah.
I could see that. Yeah.
It's like another 2-year wait is like not undoable. I just wouldn't prefer it, you know?
Yeah.
That's
I
all.
feel that. But yeah, guys, it's going to be a good year for movies and just TV in general.
It's
And
coming.
we're getting into a big chunk of them today. I already named them off. Creed, Cocaine Bear, The Last of Us, and The Mandalorian. Who knows? We're probably going to get off into some other stuff. But
Yeah.
where do you want to start out, dude? Like, what do you feel like talking about first?
I feel like we could maybe start with The Last of Us.
The Last of Us?
Seeing as that we've talked about that before. It just ended. Probably have a lot to say about it.
Oh, yeah.
Might as well get into it.
Exactly.
You know?
Let's talk about the takeover of Pedro Pascal in 2023.
Oh, God. I've been more than down for it. That's my dude right now, bro.
That's
I fucking love
Dude,
Pedro
we're talking about
Pascal.
2 of your dudes today.
100%.
Two of your
And
dudes.
this guy, I saw this thing the other day. Like, just all of them have been cracking me up. It's like, you see like a weightlifter, and he's got like 2 massive like fucking plates or whatever on his shit, and it's just Pedro Pascal in the middle. And it shows HBO Max and it shows Disney Plus, and it's like carrying streaming numbers for like the first quarter of 2023 because he's just like rocking it on both ends. It's
Dude,
ridiculous. It's absolutely insane.
Dude's making so much money.
Oh yeah,
He's-
absurd amounts of money.
Like, yeah. He has the ability to just have endless jobs for like the rest of his life now.
Oh yeah, he
Like,
can
you
be in
know?
whatever he wants. I sent it to my dad actually. I'm interested in seeing it or playing it. I don't even know really how to describe it, but from my understanding, the trailer for it was just released a couple of days ago. But I believe it's a mobile game that's like a whodunit type of thing, right? Like you're a detective and you have to solve shit. But it is made up of live action sequences starring Pedro Pascal.
God damn it.
So he's
bro.
like a detective, like eating Chinese food and shit late at night with his fucking loosened up tie and everything. Like, so who did it? Blah, 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 or whatever. And I assume you as the player have to interact and figure out the clues and shit like that to solve it. So I'll play that, man. I never fuck with that type of shit, but if it's got Pedro Pascal in it, I'll check it out, man.
Dude, yeah, anything Pedro Pascal's in.
I'm
there,
always
check it
down,
out.
man. Yeah.
But yeah, the season finale of The Last of Us just aired last night. We're recording this on a Monday. Last
Yeah.
night was a Sunday.
Big time spoilers for the entire season.
Yeah, big spoilers for The Last of Us.
Yeah.
If you guys have not watched it yet,
Go watch it.
such a crazy episode.
Yeah,
such a good way to cap off the season.
Yeah, so how do you feel? This was something I've been waiting to get your opinion on since the show was announced and we first started talking about it and everything. So obviously, for those of you who have seen it, quick recap. They get to the hospital, right? Ellie is really, really down to fulfill this like goal purpose that she's had for the course of the entire show. Joel's starting to get cold feet, right? You see early on in the episode, he's like, fuck this, let's just go back to Tommy's. Like, what, is this all worth it? Like, we don't have to do this, blah, 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 blah.
Dude, in that moment, he very much reminded me of like a dude that's in a relationship that knows like his girlfriend's gonna break up with him, and he's like, hey, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
you're so awesome, like let's go do this. And,
Let's just go back to how things used to be.
Look at what I got. I got Chef Boyardee right here.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
You want to
100%.
play Boggle? Like,
Yeah, he gets really clingy for sure. Yeah, and Ellie's just like pretty out of it, right? Like obviously had some very heavily traumatic shit happen to her in the last episode, and I think she's definitely still reeling from that. But the one thing that is still pushing her forward is like this ultimate goal, this ultimate purpose that she has in life of fulfilling the cure, right? Which also too, to rewind how the episode actually starts, big mind fuck for us as Last of Us fans. Never have we once gotten an explanation for how or why Ellie is immune. So to go back to the very beginning to when she was born, first of all, sick as fuck that Ellie gives birth to Ellie. Because
Straight up.
Ashley Johnson is the voice actor, original actor in the game from
Yeah.
The Last of Us. Really surreal and weird because all of the grunts and like fucks and this and that and
Yeah.
everything, it's fucking funky as hell because I know that voice so well. That is Ellie to me. As much of a good job as Bella Ramsey does, Ashley Johnson is always going to be Ellie. So that was fucking weird.
She also kind of looks like Bella Ramsey a little bit. Like in some
Oh
shots
yeah,
where you
yeah.
look at her face, it's like, damn, you
They did
hella
a good
do
job.
look like her fucking mom.
100%. They did a great job. Yeah. And so, yeah, to get an explanation, like, they did some Blade shit, bro. She's like a daywalker, you know? Like, so Ellie's mom got bit by a walker, whatever, infected, while giving birth to Ellie. And presumably, a little bit of that infection went through the umbilical cord before she slices it. So Cordyceps lives in Ellie, but Cordyceps lives in Ellie already and she was born that way, if she ever gets bit, like we see happen in the Left Behind episode, the infection of Cordyceps does not register her as not already infected, so it doesn't do shit. It's fine. That's how she's immune.
She's like, hey, you're...
Oh, we already got you.
Okay,
we already
yeah,
tagged
cool,
you.
cool,
Yeah.
cool,
It's like you know how like somebody like sneaks into like a club or something without getting the stamp or whatever. It's like if it's a bad analogy, but if like the bouncer came up to you and was like, "I need to give you a stamp," and he's like, "Oh no, you already have one. It's fine." Terrible analogy, but anyway, never got an explanation before, so that was cool. I like what they went with. I thought it was dope. Again, I think it's like super meta and very, very cool for me as a fan to have, again, like Ellie be the person that gives birth to Ellie in a sense, right? It's like
Very meta.
It's a very heavy passing of the torch for sure. I thought it was done super, super well. But yeah, anyway, Fireflies show up, right? Fucking Joel and Ellie get knocked the fuck out, or at least Joel does. Ellie's fine. He wakes up and almost immediately, so first of all, I should say I wasn't sure going into this next episode that we were going to get to the end of the story.
Okay.
Especially that because I already knew that the episode was like, what, it was like 43, 49 minutes, something
It was
like
like
that.
50 minutes.
It was like it was the shortest of the whole season.
Granted, I was surprised because I thought it was going to be like a 43-minute one.
Yeah.
But it was like 55, but those last 5 minutes are like the end of the episode.
Yeah,
type
yeah,
shit. So it was
that's
like
true.
50. It was like
Yeah.
50 minutes, so I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, so I was surprised, first of all, that we made it to the end. I was down that we did. But immediately, as soon as I saw the hospital background, I was like, oh, fuck, bro, shit's about to go down. Like, my stomach dropped, like, my heart started pounding faster. Because, like, you see what comes eventually, but, like, you see that setting as a game fan, and you're like, oh, fuck, it's about to go down, bro. Because essentially what happens is Joel gets the news that, yes, the doctor in question does have a potential way to synthesize a cure from what's going on with Ellie, but in order to do so, they're going to have to pick apart her brain so much, which is where Cordyceps lives in a human, that she's going to die. They'll have to sacrifice her in order to pull this potential cure from her, which I learned this a long time ago when the game first came out. Total and utter bullshit. I like there's like, you know, they always have those series of like actual surgeon like addresses like video game injuries and this and that or whatever. A actual surgeon went on and was like, this is possible, like, to synthesize a cure from this, but we wouldn't need to kill her. Like, we can get enough samples that we wouldn't have to tear apart her brain in order to like synthesize a cure. So first of all, bullshit. But we surrendered to the reality of the show, obviously, right? And Joel's just not having it, man. Does not give a fuck. This homie goes
Berserk.
absolutely berserk. Kills arguably innocent people who are begging for their lives, like folks who are unarmed, literally putting their guns down in front of him to try and just keep him off their shit. And he is absolutely massacring them, dude. He does not give a fuck, bro.
Yeah, this was a I think just encapsulates just what the series is about, right? Just what the lengths someone will go for someone that they love, right?
Yeah.
In this instance, you have Joel, who sees now Ellie as like a surrogate daughter,
100%.
and he's like, okay, like I don't want what happened to Sarah, my original daughter, to happen to Ellie. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to protect her, right?
Yeah.
And I love that we see this progression. Like in the first episode, wanted nothing fucking to do with her.
Yeah.
If Joel in the first episode gets to where Joel was in this area, right? If it's still first episode Joel, he doesn't give a fuck, dude.
Nope.
He's just like, right, here we go. But since they've gone through so much and he's opened up to Ellie finally, he's just like, all right, I have to do whatever it takes to protect her, because Joel is just a protector at the end of the day.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is the role that he fills. That's who
100%.
he feels that he is. That's what he feels like he.
That's his purpose in
That's his
life.
purpose in
Yeah.
life, is to protect people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was just a crazy episode. I love also all like just the exposition, just in the whole episode with him and Ellie just talking and not saying that they love each other, but saying they love each other
Yeah,
in the way that
everything
they,
but, yeah.
everything but, and
Mm-hmm.
like Joel pretty much saying like, what is it? Ellie makes that comment like, oh, it's like, I guess time does like, just
Heal all wounds, yeah.
And he's like,
It wasn't time that did it.
It wasn't time that did it. And
Yeah.
she's like, they know. And so it was, that was touching,
Very sweet, yeah.
But yeah, when you get to that point when Marlene's just like, no, we gotta fucking kill her, bro. I was like, what the fuck is going down,
Yeah,
dude?
it's bad news.
And then, yeah, seeing Joel snap, and when he gets down, he's going down the stairs, and he's just like, oh, down here? And he's just like, yeah, bro, just fucking keep going. And he's just like, nah. Boom, boom, boom. And I just kind of love the way it's shot, too. Like, it's, like, from my understanding, right, from what I've watched in videos now, is, like, in the game, like, you play as Joel at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So you're literally going through and doing all the acts.
Yeah.
But I love that in the show. Fuck, I keep burping because of the beer.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that in the show, like, it's kind of like this montage, and it's like a blur of everything that's like going down,
Yeah.
because like that's kind of the state that he's in. Like, he's in such like a rage, and it's just he's just on autopilot right now. It's just like, I have to save Ellie, and this is what I'm doing
Yeah,
right
he's
now. And I
like-
don't give a fuck. No one's gonna stop me.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you are. And he just takes out like a billion fucking people.
Yeah, it's on like obviously like a much more violent, horrible, tragic level, but he's just in the zone, dude. Like a athlete, like a professional something or other. Like everything else is just tuned the fuck out, and he is focused solely on his goal, which is essentially saving his daughter, right?
Yeah, he
And-
does remind me of like in this moment, like peak Rick Grimes when like they get to like Alexandria in The Walking Dead, and like it's starting to get overrun from walkers, and everyone's inside, and then finally he just fucking, I think Carl gets like shot in the face, and they take him inside, and Rick just like blacks out in that moment. He goes outside with just a fucking like hatchet, and there's just like thousands of zombies outside, and he's just like fucking
Taking
mowing
them
them down,
down,
dude.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
just like
Doesn't
the
give a
rest of the
fuck.
world is just like blacked out,
Yeah.
and he's just like going
Has
ham.
to
Like that's
destroy
what,
zombies. Yeah.
exactly. That's what it fucking reminded me of.
Yeah, it's crazy too, because like I like what they did just in general with the moment, because I think like you get, like you said, you get that sense of like Joel being like almost blacked out a little bit. I think at the same time too, you get on the musical side of things, you get the Last of Us theme is like, to me, like a very solid blend of both like an optimist and a pessimist at the same time, right? Like it's a very sad, dreary guitar piece, but it has a little bit of hope in it. Like
Yeah.
you can feel the embers, the sparks of like maybe there is chance for a better world out there. And the way that it's done, so like eerily and almost like muffled, it's like it represents what's happening on the screen, which is everything that you've built this entire season, everything that Joel and Ellie have worked towards in terms of building a relationship is just getting completely run over by Joel's like need to protect, right? Whether it's the right thing to do or not, that's for each person
We'll get
to
into
decide
that.
for themselves. Yeah.
We'll get into that, whether
Yeah.
it's right or wrong.
Yeah. I don't think there's a proper answer, but yeah, like everything about that scene just works to like convey what is happening just to Joel, and I think also just to us as viewers, right? Because like Joel does a lot of horrible things over the course of this season. Like he's murdering people in front of this young girl. Like obviously for survival purposes, we're not saying it's bad or anything, but I think for the most part, we've been on board and able to back whatever it is that he's doing without feeling too terrible about it. Versus like, I don't know, dude, I had a hard time watching like him go to town. Like it was tough to watch. It's
Oh yeah,
it's
1000%.
way different.
I was sitting there
when-
like, what
what are you doing,
like,
bro?
What is happening? Like
Yeah.
you understand?
Yeah.
Because I think at that point, us as viewers too are like so connected to Ellie, where we're almost like, dude, what the fuck? Like she's just
You
gonna
don't want her to die either, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, Joel, go through and freaking murder all these
Yeah.
people. Like, yes, it was definitely like hard to watch, but it's not like it's just weird because like he's like the main character, and it's like, oh my god, he's this main character and he's doing the right thing, but he's doing all these wrong things at the same time. So
Yeah.
it's like it's feeling conflicted, right?
Most definitely.
And definitely, like, you get to the end with him and Marlene, and she's talking about, like, it's not.
not
He's like,
over.
that's not your decision to make, and she's like, well, fucking, that's what you're doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, but like, you didn't really give her a decision. Also, at the
100%,
same time,
yeah.
you know what
No,
I'm
yeah.
saying? Like,
Most definitely.
so it's this. It's crazy because I was telling my mom earlier about the episode, and I was just like, yeah, like, I'm interested to see what you have to say about the episode, because the end, exactly right. Well, this decision that Joel makes is very much, it brings up a lot of conversation of whether, like, it was the right decision or the wrong decision, and like, there's arguments to be made for both sides.
Yeah. Yeah. People have been talking about this for the last 10 years, man.
And it's beautiful that it's like, I think it was done in such a good way, because, like, again, we're so attached to Joel and Ellie that we're like, of course Joel, like, yeah, murder all these people to save Ellie. But then when Marlene's talking to him, you're like, damn, did this homie make the right decision? And then especially when he tells Ellie, like, what actually happened, you're like, damn,
He
like, was
straight
that the
lies
right decision?
big time, yeah. Not like a small muddling of the truth, like straight making up a whole nother story and basically killing everybody else who could have told her the truth, just so that it never gets out.
He like could have stopped. He could have been like, yeah, dude, Raiders and blah blah blah, and that could have like been it. But he just like was like, oh, no,
It's like, oh no, there's hella other immune people out there, and they just can't make it work.
Yeah,
sorry,
they
kid.
just don't give a shit no more. So yeah, we're just going home.
Well, because the other thing too that's tough about that, right, is it's like, not only does Joel take away her choice in the matter, but in trying to push that particular lie, he also takes away Ellie's purpose in life. Like, the only thing that she's really had to cling on to besides Joel, which she only just discovered over, like, the last, like, year, 8 months to a year that this has taken place, is the fact that she might actually be special to the point where she could save humanity. Like that's, I think, the craziest thing, right? Is it's like, it's not like you're just looking at this like, okay, is it Ellie's life versus all these doctors and fireflies and Marlene? It's like, no, is it Ellie's life versus like the potential to bring humanity back from the brink of extinction, pretty much. Like, they're not doing well against the infected. That's more than clear. Like, yeah, they're surviving, but at another point, people still get bit all the time. People are still dying, like this and that, blah, blah, blah. And on top of that, it's not a great way to live. Like, sure, they've adapted, but I'm sure people would rather not live with brain-eating fungal zombies in the world.
Straight up.
And so the fact that he is willing to basically say fuck you to humankind, be like, I'm going to save my daughter, is controversial. It's hard. It's a tough decision, I think it's like easy to sit with your big boy pants on and say like, no, that's not the right thing to do, because from a cold logical perspective,
from like a realist like standpoint,
Yeah.
from like an idealist like
the
standpoint,
needs of the
right?
many outweigh the needs of the few.
Exactly.
Right?
Kick
But-
back, Spock.
Yeah, but like,
Kick back, Mr. Spock.
kick back, Mr. Spock. Live long and prosper, broski. But yeah, like, obviously I don't know exactly what this would be like, not being a parent, right? Never having had a child before. I'm sure from what I've heard from my parents, everything changes once you do have a kid. And so the sacrifices that you'll make, the things that you'll put on the line to protect your children, it's like a whole nother world, man. Like, that's not even something I can even begin to understand,
Yeah, there was a clip that I heard, because I haven't listened to the podcast yet for the last episode, but there was a clip that I heard that they talked about, they did a poll amongst people who played the game.
Yeah.
People without kids, like, and about like Joel's decision, whether
Yeah.
he was right or wrong.
Yeah.
People without kids, like, it was like about like 50-50, right?
Yeah.
Like, the decision was like, like, yeah, he did some wrong, and or it was 50-50 split basically. The people with kids, it was 100% like Joel made
He
the
was
right
right.
decision.
Yeah, because they would save their child too.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah. It overrides. I think, like, Craig Mason says it best. He's been hinting at it. Craig Mason and Neil Druckmann both, but they've been hinting at it in all these little post-episode sequences and whatnot, right? But there's, like, both a beautiful and a horrific side of love, right? Like, there's many things, and it's crazy because we see them both within the context of the same episode, right? Like, you see the amount of healing that Ellie, like the healing effect that Ellie has had on Joel, right? Like we learned in this episode that he was more than ready to kill himself. He was suicidal after Sarah died, right?
Yep.
And the fact that this one child is like both this like represents at least their relationship together, right? Like represents both of those things, like how wonderful an effect love, especially like something like parental love, can have on a person, but also like the horrible, terrible things you can like drive you to do at the same time, right? Like
Yeah.
he's like, there's no other way to put it. Like he does straight up cold-bloodedly murder those motherfuckers. Because yeah, there's some dudes trying to shoot back at him for sure. We'll give him those ones. But there's other homies who are just like, dude, please, like I don't want any part of this. I'll walk away. And he's just like, cool, bah! Fucking domes him really quick. Like, oh, savage shit, dude.
That's the thing. I really think about it from like from just like a parent. Like I'm not a parent, but I really try to put myself like in that shoes, in the shoes of like the main characters, because I'm very much on the side of like I don't think he's wrong, honestly. Like, because when you put yourself in the shoes of like a parent, right? Like in that moment, leading up to that, Ellie doesn't know that that's the surgery that she has to go into, right? She doesn't know that they're gonna have to like pick apart her brain. She's basically gonna die.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
she thinks they're gonna take samples of her blood, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. They're gonna freaking. Oh my gosh, they're gonna dust their hands off, and they're gonna get up, tie the shoelaces, and they're gonna walk out, and everything's
like,
gonna
thanks,
be done.
Ellie.
Yeah, they're gonna go freaking have a farm, go to the moon, everything like that.
Yeah.
But one, they get by a fucking flashbang. Like, okay,
100%.
If what we have to do isn't so bad, why are you just gonna fucking hit me with the fucking flashbang?
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know? And if you're not gonna be straight up, why hit me with the freaking flashbang? You know what I'm saying?
They don't keep her awake to make the decision one. And see, that's the thing that's tough is it's like what I appreciate about this game, this story in general, especially the way the show portrayed it, is that like I think regardless of your stance on how everything shakes out at the end, whether you think the Fireflies did things right, whether you think Joel did things right, whatever, at the very core of all of it is a level of understanding, right?
Yeah.
Like, again, put yourself. It's very easy to put yourself in the shoes of Joel, right? But put yourself in Marlene's shoes. Like, you're part of the last faction that's fighting against this horrible, corrupt Fedra that's taken over. That's like, like, granted. They're not like, no, actually, no, Fedra fucking sucks.
But you're also going to sacrifice your best friend's freaking daughter that you swore to protect her when she was dying.
But I think that's why it's important because, again, it's two sides of the same coin. Like, you have, if you're willing to, because Joel does not make an easy decision, right? We can't lie to ourselves about that. Like, I think any parent, regardless of whether they would make that choice or not, that's a tough choice to make. You're putting the life of one person ahead of everybody else, right? And I think that and I think that's also why that intro scene is important, is it's like Marlene is not, in the game, Marlene very much does seem like just a cold-hearted, like, I don't give a fuck, like, we need to get this happening or whatever. But because she does have the relationship with Ellie, because she essentially, like, raised her from afar, and it is her, like, niece, sort of, right, in a certain sense, I think that sacrifice is like holds a lot more weight to it, I don't think it's like as cold-hearted.
Did you watch the episode yet?
Yes.
Last of Us?
Okay, what did you think about it?
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Joel's decision?
As a parent, because we're having this conversation right now, like,
Parent, like that's the only decision you can make.
uh-huh.
Like I can't see being like, oh yeah, I'll sacrifice my kid. No,
Just doesn't compute.
doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not in your human nature.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Would you have lied like that though? Would you have been like, if that were to happen to me, like, and I were to wake up, would you have just been like, hey man, they were just gonna kill you. Like, you didn't know they were gonna kill you. They just put you under and you were just gonna die. You didn't sign up for this. From this point, from up until we got hit with that flashbang, you thought they were gonna take some blood, we were gonna walk away, and we were gonna be cool.
Yeah.
But you were gonna die. They didn't tell you. Would you have told me that, or would you have been like,
I don't know. Like I see his struggle because I think she was willing to sacrifice herself.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
And he doesn't want. I don't think he wants her to like want to go back, or figure out a way to like no, like I'm the cure, like I have to sacrifice myself, and then she'll just be trying to figure that out. So I think that's why he lied, but I don't know what I would do.
Crazy shit.
It depends on your child.
Yeah.
How much does your kid love you?
If your child sucks, it's probably an easier decision to make.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, you want to take that one? All right, cool.
I got another one. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for the input.
There we go. From
the hot take, man.
From a parent themselves.
Yeah. Because I think she brings up a good point. Like that is, I think, as much as you can blame Marlene for doing the exact same thing that Joel is. Technically, I think she understands Ellie better. Because I do think that given the choice, Ellie would 100% sacrifice herself to make the cure happen. Like if they did approach things the right way, they're like tap him on the shoulder and they're like, don't shoot. We gotta do this and this or whatever. Like Ellie would probably even, I imagine, let them subdue Joel and like, apologize, probably have her goodbyes and everything like that. But I don't think that she would let anything stop her from, again, fulfilling her life purpose, because like I think as much as she is willing to, like she tells Joel, like, we just got to finish this first and then we can go do whatever you want. I'll follow you wherever you want to go. We'll do this, blah, blah, blah. I think to me, that's Ellie telling Joel, like, look, dude, this is the one thing that I have. Like, everything else has been taken away from me. Like, if I go with you after that, that's your thing. Like, I will be a part of that because I have love for you in the way that I do. But this is my thing right here. This is all I have. And I do think that for that reason, I don't agree with Joel's choice. This might have to do with the extra context that I have in terms of how their relationship progresses. Because as I'm sure you can assume, he doesn't just come out and tell her the truth one day. He holds on to this shit for a while.
Yeah.
And I think, again, Craig Mason puts it better than anything, which is that, like, they spent this entire season, the whole course of them building this relationship together has been about finally trying to develop a certain sense of trust in a world where you really can't trust anybody. And Homeboy puts that shit all on the line, like all of it. Like, again, it's not like this is some little white lie that you tell a kid. This is not Santa Claus. This is not the Tooth Fairy. This is like, you had the potential to save humankind, and I took that away from you because I cannot handle losing a child again, right? And so in that sense, I think I don't blame Joel for what he did. Again, the biggest achievement, I think, about this story is the fact that regardless of what camp you fall on, there is understanding, right?
Yeah.
Because I still 100% get where Joel's coming from. As your mom just said, if I was a parent, I'm sure just the instinct takes over. Like a mama is not going to let their cub die. Like, it's just not going to happen, right? Like, at the end of the day, we're still animals like that. But he also is fundamentally taking away from Ellie as well, Yeah. Taking away her identity, taking away her purpose, taking away her choice, and fucking lying to her face about it, bro. Like, twice. Like, full-fledged doesn't give a fuck, And so in that sense, I can't really stand behind what he does. I think that it doesn't necessarily make him a bad guy, but I do think it makes him a very morally ambiguous person. I don't think Joel's a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't stand behind the lying, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, for me, that, like, you've built up to this moment where finally you're being super straight up, like with Ellie. Like, you're talking to her about Sarah. You're talking to her about how you wanted to commit suicide, all this stuff like that. And you don't even have the guts to be like, hey, this is what happened. I think another thing, too, like, what made him make that decision is the fact that they just didn't give Ellie that decision. And I think given if they sit them both, or if they tell Ellie, right, hey, this is what has to happen, like, this is the surgery we have to progress with, like, you're probably going to die from this stuff, you are going to die from this stuff. And if Ellie and Joel have that conversation of, Joel, like, this is what I want to do, I think Joel would accept that more.
Sure.
Because when you're going on, like, they have that conversation, I forget what episode it is, but Joel's like, we can turn back now, like, we don't have to continue on, we can stay here, like, we can chill, like, and that can be that. And she's like, no, like, I want to do this. And I think if they have that same conversation, and Joel's able to come to understanding of, now this is what Ellie wants, I think the outcome is definitely way different. You know, I don't think he goes through and like kills everybody if they have that conversation.
I do wonder, honestly, because I think were Joel a mentally sound human being, I could get behind that. But I think that at the end of the day, he's like a very fucked up individual who is like traumatically scarred for the rest of his life and has only just begun to kind of open that wound back up to try and treat it. I think even then, in my mind, Joel still snaps, overrides what Ellie wants, and says, no, fuck this, I'm getting you out of here, and still mows everybody down to get him out of there. Because I really don't, like your mom said, I don't see a Joel that's okay with sacrificing this daughter that he just found. Even if he has a conversation with her and everything like that, like there's always like this mentality. You and I have experienced it from like a child's perspective of like a parent always knows best. I don't know if I have a feeling Joel would just pull like, you don't know what you're talking about. We're getting out of here. Like,
that is a lot to put on a young person.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if he, as much as he does love and respect her, I don't know if he goes so far as to let that override his parental instincts of like keeping her alive. And again, he's fucked. Like even before he loved her, bro, it's actually it's very good. Cause I don't remember if this is the end of episode 2 or the end of episode 1, but actually the exact same thing happens when they first meet each other versus now, right? Because he essentially sees his child threatened, right? About to be killed. And he snaps and he goes into overdrive, which is exactly what happens with the Fedra guard at the very beginning. So even before this relationship and bond between them was developed, like just that trauma alone of being put in that situation is enough to make this person alone, aside from Ellie, snap and fall back into that violent rage of like, no, fuck you, I'm going to kill everything that tries to like take this away from me.
I see.
So I don't know. I don't know if he's mentally sound enough to like make that decision. You know what I mean? I would like to believe he is, but I think that's part of what makes Joel so interesting is that he's not a traditional like hero, right? He doesn't have like a great moral compass. He just does whatever it takes to survive. We're told that he spent a lot of time just killing for the sake of killing. He didn't necessarily need to, from the vibe that we get from Tommy. You know, they were essentially raiders. Like there's obviously other ways they could have went about surviving, but instead they decided to take it out on other people, right? And murder them and steal their shit and stuff like that. And so I think that's what makes Joel such a like compelling character is it's like you don't, again, it's like the crowning achievement of this whole story, man, is it's like you don't always necessarily agree with the choices that these characters are making, but you understand where they're coming from. Yeah. Which is very, very important. I especially think like it's a great show to have come out nowadays because there is a lot of battling ideologies in our world right now. And I think at some point or another, we're going to have to figure out how to find some sort of middle ground and acceptance and everything. And obviously understanding is the very beginning of that. So to have something as polarizing as this, be able to pull that off. Yes, please. Thank you. It's an achievement, man. I'm fucking very, very happy with the way this show turned out. I cannot believe how good they did, man. I was floored.
It was wonderful, bro.
Yeah.
Like it was
like
such a great
I've
show.
ever seen before.
Like just because again, like it. Cheers. Like immediately after the show was over, like I was sitting there thinking, like, damn, like what, like, could Joel have literally just let this play out? Like I really don't know. Like I don't know. I think I've just been thinking about it, and I think if I was in his shoes, I probably would have made the same decision. Like
yeah.
Like I don't know, man. It's such a hard decision, and I think it's such a testament to like Neil Druckmann and like the original creators of like the story and like being able to craft such a good story to last like to be able to release in 2013 and to continue the conversation of like, damn, did Joel make the right decision? Yeah. And for it to continue now with the ending of the show, adding a whole new audience, like so amazing. It's so amazing, and I'm excited for season 2. Oh yeah. I've heard I was watching a video when I was coming back from work that they are gonna do like a lot of changes to the story of The Last of Us Part 2, and they're gonna try to like do like 4 to 5 seasons of like the
Ooh,
show.
Okay.
So
That seems like a waste of time to me, but whatever. They can do what they want. I would appreciate, going off of the way the game is structured, personally, I would appreciate a change in the structure in which the story is told. I don't know if I would like it so much if the details of the story being told were changed. Because, like, without giving too much spoilers, you essentially play through the same 4 days from two different perspectives. So you have to go through these 4 days as one camp, and then you rewind and you go through those 4 days again from an entirely another perspective, which I think is weird in TV and kind of hard to do, you know? So I get why they would change that. But as far as like changing the actual beats of what happened, I think that's dangerous territory to be playing in. But they can do what they want, you know? I wouldn't mind if this got stretched out into like 3 seasons, but I think anything more than that is we're gonna probably end up with some filler here or there. I don't know how much you can do unless they decide to fill in the gaps. Because the other thing too is Last of Us Part 2 takes place, I believe, 4 years after the first game.
I think what I saw was 5.
5 years. Okay, yeah. So 5 years after the first game. So if they want to take time to fill in all of that, then that could be cool. I think that would be solid. Maybe The Last of Us Part 2 like doesn't actually take place until season 5 or 6 or something like that, you know, and we get these next few years of what happens and how the relationships develop. I think that could be something cool. But I would not like them to change. As controversial as some of the decisions made in The Last of Us 2 are, I don't want anything about it to change. And quite frankly, I would like them to stand by their guns, because they did divide the video game community incredibly hard with some of the shit that they did in Last of Us 2. People fucking hated Naughty Dog for some of the shit that they do, bro. So for them to walk that back, I think is like a little bit of a bitch move. I think they should stick with it and roll with it. But if they want to flesh more things out, like they have already shown us they can do in this first season, more than down with that. Because like, holy shit, episode 3, still one of the best episodes of TV I've ever seen in my life. Had nothing to do with what happened in the game, but stayed truthful and respectful to what the source material is, you know? Like, it's an expansion rather than a change. That I'd be down with. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, now I'm going to have to finish the first game, and then I'm going to for sure play the second game.
Yeah, probably got some time. I heard they could start production on part 2 as early as the end of this year.
Oh, damn.
Which would be exciting, but even then, I think that doesn't give us a release date of until like at least 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah, with all the post-production stuff they have to do. So probably waiting at least 2 years.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to finish the first game because I wanted, like, the fact that I got so deep into the show before it got as equally deep into the game.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, all right, let me just finish out the show because I don't want to ruin the end of the show.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm so invested in it. But now I'm excited to play the game and see how all that plays out and then play part 2.
Yeah.
Because I've only seen bits and pieces of part 2. I see this chick Abby, and there's a chick that's just like hella ripped and shit like that. Like,
yeah, Abby's a crazy motherfucker, dude.
Is she the one that's like hella ripped and stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah, that's Abby.
God damn
Yeah.
it, dude. She has big ass arms.
Yeah,
bro.
she's huge, 100%.
For
Yeah, she's
what,
jacked.
bro?
Yeah, she's you'll see. The only thing I would recommend to you, the only thing I can tell you as a fan of this story and this series is do your absolute 100% best to not see a single goddamn thing about Last of Us 2.
Okay.
Like, no spoilers whatsoever. You don't want them. Not even the
Okay.
tiniest little things.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely better experienced coming in from the dark.
From the dark side.
The dark.
All right.
Speaking of the dark side and the light side and the force, is it a little Mando transition right here?
Dude, let's freaking do it.
What
dude.
is it, before we do move on, The Last of Us as a series as a whole, what is your overall rating, your final thoughts on the show?
My final rating is like a 9.5 on the show.
Okay.
Really good, really compelling characters. I love that each episode was like a story in itself, and that we got new characters each episode. They gave us so much to make us invested in those characters.
Yeah.
And the fact that they killed those characters off and took them away made those deaths more impactful.
Yeah.
And then I really appreciate that. Everybody they got to act in the show
Phenomenal.
was phenomenal. I love that they brought the voice actors from the games and did little cameos in the shows, like Troy Baker being the homie and freaking.
Not his name, yeah. Gets his neck chopped by a fucking machete.
Yeah. But I love seeing all of that. Yeah, everything was awesome. I just love the vibe of like Neil Druckmann and Craig Mason. The fact that they're both big fans of each other.
They're such a good duo, man.
Like that's what I want going forward, moving with just like anything in general. Like,
yeah, just people who want to work together.
Exactly, and just make it work, and really collaborate and come together to make just one vision possible.
Yeah.
The only critique I would say is I want to see more infected for sure. Like I think that would make some of the deaths just like, or at least the journey with Joel and Ellie a little bit more tense.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there is a point in the show where you're like, oh, these fools are fine. Like they haven't seen infected in a while. Like they're just kind of they're kind of chilling. I would think for me personally, seeing a little bit more infected and putting their life on the line a little bit more would make that like relationship just like a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
But all around, great show. I'm excited for season 2. I'm excited to get into the game, and yeah, that's all I got to say on that.
Some good shit.
What do you rate the show as a fan of the game before the show even came out?
Honestly, it's hard not to just give it like a 10 out of 10. I think I wasn't personally bothered by the critique of like not enough infected because I see them for what they are, which is essentially just video game bad guys. Like they're not really integral to the story in any way. You don't have a whole lot of emotional impact coming off of like clickers and like boomers and all that to bloaters and shit like that and whatnot. So I understand why they were pulled from the story as much as they were. Would I have liked to have seen maybe 1 or 2 more sequences of them battling some infected? Sure. But it didn't really bother me so much because I appreciated that while that was taken out, more story was injected into that in its place. You know what I mean? Like, as badass as it would have been to see, like, Joel and Ellie just, like, charge through a whole building full of infected and fuck people up, I think that, like, it would have ended up with the critique of, like, okay, this feels very video gamey, you know? And so that sacrifice is okay for me. I didn't really bother me too much. I didn't feel like there was any filler in this season, which is a pretty big achievement. Like, I think every episode was used very well. And not only that, I think all of the time in each of the episode was used very well. They're relatively short for the most part, aside from like the first episode. I think most of the rest of them clock in, aside from maybe like one other one, like under an hour, which is pretty solid. Like when you think about it, right? Like usually HBO, like across the board, is an hour long each. And so the fact that they're able to get away with like multiple episodes that are 40 to 50 minutes and still tell as impactful of a story as they did, I think shows a lot of restraint in a good way. They weren't just trying to like fill time up with content. They had a story that they wanted to tell, and they used as much time as they needed to tell that story. And then beyond just all the things that it does well as a TV show in execution, fuck, man, this is like the best video game adaptation I've ever seen in my life. Like nothing comes even remotely close.
This is for sure. This is like the blueprint moving forward of 100%. Like if you're gonna do a video game adaptation, you better watch The Last of Us and play The Last of Us and see how they did that. You know?
Because it's ridiculous. The fact that they like there are some sequences that I'm sure you already do remember. There are some that will pop up the more you play the game that are just like shot for shot, bro. Like sequence for sequence, action for action, line for line. Like, and I will say that The Last of Us is in a very special place to do this because, for one, the video game is essentially already like a movie, right? It's not like you're taking something like Super Mario or Zelda or Sonic the Hedgehog that's just like run from this side of the screen to the other side and trying to make a story out of that. Like this is a fully fleshed out narrative already, right? So in that sense, they do have a little bit of a like head start. But the fact that it was so well adapted and again expanded upon and like changed in these subtle ways, and it all still works and it all still pleased brand new people as well as longtime fans of the series is a fucking achievement, man. Good on you guys. They did a really fucking good job. So like it's very hard for me not to give it a 10 out of 10. There was nothing wrong with the show for me pretty fucking good.
It was beautiful, man. Beautiful show. Beautiful ass show. But yeah, let's move on
Delicious.
to Pedro Pascal's other freaking, if he's got one gun, this is his fucking second gun. If fucking
ridiculous, man.
If freaking The Last of Us is his Mustang, then freaking The Mandalorian's his freaking Sally, bro.
Yeah, dude. Fucking A. Oh, I'm so fucking down. I'm gonna use the restroom really quick. So hit him with a little Mando recap. What have we seen so far?
So guys, if you don't remember from the fucking book of Boba Fett, if you didn't watch the 2 fucking episodes that The Mandalorian was in, so the best 2 episodes of the book of Boba Fett, basically. So Mando goes back to the armorer and brings him back the Darksaber. She tells him about the Darksaber and is like, this is where it's from. This is the lore behind it, blah, 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 blah. And she kind of already sniffs out, like, I think this homie freaking took off his helmet. I think this homie took off his helmet and said what's up to the little friend that he used to have. So she asked him, like, so before she asked him and Jon Favreau's Mandalorian character, I forgot what his name is, but they have a fight because he believes that Mando isn't fit to carry the Darksaber, so they have a fight. You see that Mando, the Darksaber's fighting him a little bit. He doesn't know. He can't get it, and basically what happens is he beats Jon Favreau's character, because he's the Mandalorian. He's Pedro Pascal. He's got plot armor, even though he can't use a sword, even though he can't use the Darksaber very well. He beats him. So he gets to keep the Darksaber because to get the Darksaber, you have to win it in battle, which we'll talk about later as to why does the Darksaber not seem to be calling to him. So he beats the homie in battle, has the Darksaber, and the armor asks him, like, hey, man, did you take off your helmet? And he's like, you got me there. You got me there, armor. I did take off my helmet. And she goes, you know what? You're not a Mandalorian anymore. You swore you fucking took the creed. Mm-hmm. You swore to never take off your helmet. And the only way to redeem yourself is to bathe in the waters, in the living waters in the mines of Mandalore. And he's like, fuck, dude. All right, I guess I got to.
Yeah.
So in the next episode of the fucking Book of Boba Fett, basically he goes to see Grogu with fucking Luke Skywalker.
Fucking Luke Skywalker.
God damn it. How great of an episode was that?
How great of a sentence is that, bro?
You get to see the Mandalorian go visit Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Fucking great.
Come on, man.
And you see the training that Grogu's doing. Personally, I really loved that because you got to see him doing a little bit more flips. Yeah. You got to see a 50-year-old person doing some 50-year-old shit.
Yeah. Coming into his fucking
own. It was great. We got to see Ahsoka. And basically, Grogu has to make the decision of, do you want to continue your training as a Jedi? Or since you love the Mandalorian, do you want to go off with the Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Picks to go with Mando because why not? It's the Mandalorian. Yeah. He found Grogu. Why is Grogu not going to come back with him?
Stick with his daddy.
We love Grogu. Yeah. Grogu makes Disney a lot of money. If we cut him out of the show, what are we fucking doing with ourselves? After that?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would be more than down to still just watch this story play out without Grogu in it. Like, I think they have enough going at this point to where they can do what they're doing. But it's just better that he's there, that you have that dynamic still,
Exactly. So, yeah, the 2 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett are very integral to the plot of The Mandalorian, which a problem I have with Disney. I won't get into it right now, but a very big problem I have because it's...
They're like, watch all of our shit or you're not going to know what's going on.
Exactly, dude. Like, God damn it. Yeah. Like, that could have been like a Mandalorian special, right? If you really want to drop that story, like, make it just a special like about the Mandalorian.
Yeah, 2-hour special, or an hour and a half.
Hour and a half, yeah. Like, come on, man. But anyways, so when we get to the beginning of season 3, if you want to recap the first episode of season 3.
Yeah, so we start with we reappear. They do a bit of a recap. I will give them this, right? Mm-hmm. It's not as in depth as what you get in those episodes of Boba Fett, but essentially the beginning starts as a recap where you show up with the armorer and they're in the middle of like a ceremony of like giving this new kid his helmet or whatever.
I thought it was a flashback.
So did I. I was 100% thinking like, oh look, it's little baby Din Djarin. Holy shit. Not the case, right? Because Mando flies in like a fucking pimp and just blows a hole in the fucking gigantic space monster.
The big space alligator.
Yeah, just fucking even does the spin, bro. Even does the twirl. The alligator twirl and shit, man.
The alligator twirl.
The death spin. What's it called? It's called the alligator twirl.
It's just it's the death roll.
Yeah, the alligator twirl.
The alligator twirl.
It's the croc twirl. It's the croc twirl, bro, right? I think that's the official term that people.
Alligator Twirl sounds like some fucking. This is like a Scooby-Doo special, and he went to the Boo School or whatever,
Yeah,
and there's
like,
a fucking crocodile
like a special
student.
move.
Yeah, there's this crocodile student, and they're at the fucking like a school dance. She's like, I'm gonna do the crocodile twirl.
Alligator twirl.
Alligator twirl.
It's the alligator twirl, man. All right, it's dangerous. Don't make fun of that shit.
No, it's all good.
But yeah, okay. So yeah, essentially, a bit of a recap, right? The action happens. It's very cool. Mando shows up in very badass fashion, and yeah, you essentially just get her telling him the same thing, which is like he shows up, they're sitting down, and he's like, so I'm still not welcome back? And she's like, nah, motherfucker, you still took off your helmet, right? And he's like, yeah, I did. And she's like, all right, well, yeah, you got to go to, again, the living waters of Mando, blah, blah, blah. We then are reintroduced to a character that was given to us at the end of season 2 of Mandalorian. Dates back even further if you watched Clone Wars. We get a quick little intro to Bo-Katan, which I guess a lot of people online were bummed about this. I didn't really see where the hate was coming from, but whatever. People want to hate on shit, that's on them. Bo-Katan is very down in the dumps because...
Oh, wait, no, we don't go to Bo-Katan. We go to freaking...
Oh, yeah. We see, what's his name first? He's got a new name, but Carl Weathers, his character. I can't remember his name. Yeah, Grief Karga. There you go. Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. So first, yeah, we catch up. We get a nice little fucking... old school reference, you son of a bitch. Fucking old school fucking, yeah.
Dude, I love that was very much
that was hilarious.
A callback to that.
100% on purpose.
They did that. Fucking Jon Favreau did that shit on purpose. He was like, all right, hey, I don't know what you got written for this episode, but you got to
This has to be in it.
This has to be in it right here, you know?
Yeah, because so Mando knows that he cannot, at least as far as he knows right now, Mandalore has been cursed, right? There's apparently poison in the air. People can't breathe the air on this planet's surface anymore. And so
because the Empire fucked them up.
Yeah, they glassed that shit, bro. It's absolutely gone. And so Mando's plan is he goes back to whatever spaceport planet that they're on. I can't remember what it's called. Sorry. And he meets up with Grief Karga and is like, hey, I want that statue over there. I know there's still bits of IG-11 in there. We need to get him back online so he can help me like chart the surface of Mandalore, basically.
The only droid I trust, motherfucker.
I was 100% thinking we were going to get him back right then and there. Mm-hmm. Like when they do the little surgery at the end and shit and he starts to wake up and everything, I was like, oh fuck, IG-11's coming back. We're getting some Taika Waititi again. Hell yeah, dude, let's do it. But he essentially, when he, went nuclear and blew himself up, all of his program got reset, so he doesn't remember jack shit about fucking anything that happened in Mandalorian season 1. And he's essentially just like a killer robot, right? Like he tries to start fucking blasting him immediately. So they put a hole in him again, put it on pause, and...
Okay, before I forget.
Yeah.
I would like to make an announcement that in the video, if you guys watch me put this freaking joint out, it lasted until 8:17.
Yeah, it did a good job. I noticed that too.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I know. It made it a long time, man. So, Baletas,
shout out to you.
You guys are solid. Shout out to Garrett for the recommendation.
Exactly. But yeah, IG-11. We thought we were going to get IG-11 back.
He just gets blasted again, though.
Yeah. They take him to the little mechanics.
Yeah, the Babu Freak homies, dude. Oh, yeah. That shit was hilarious. I love those. That shit was cracking me up. Yeah, it's a funny sequence. Look at Veeks. Yeah, and then you just get Grief Karga in the back just like, he says they can't fix him. And Mandalorian's like, yeah, I got it. He's like, motherfucker. You think I'm fucking stupid? But, yeah, so that doesn't pan out. That's not working.
They tell him like, hey, we need this specific part. If you get this specific part,
we can probably rebuild it.
We can probably do it. But they're like, this fool's hella old. Like he's from like
what, probably Clone War days, right?
I think before that. I think it was from like the
pre-Phantom Menace.
I think around Phantom Menace area. Yeah, I think around that era. Yeah,
so he's an old asteroid. The parts probably aren't in stock anymore. I doubt anybody's got them on their supply lines and whatnot. And so he basically puts a pin in that shit, right? And he's like, all right, we'll figure this out. Like, I'll see what I can do. He plans to go and meet who he's going to meet in the second episode. But I think before that happens, the end of the episode does finish off with him going to Bo-Katan, right?
Yeah, I think he goes... Doesn't he go to... He goes to Mos Espa, right? To go see freaking...
That was the beginning of the second episode.
The beginning of the second episode? Okay.
Yeah, so I think before that happens, I think at the end of episode 1, he goes to talk to Bo-Katan again.
Oh, yes.
And essentially, because she didn't get her chance to battle for the dark sword, and Mando won it, and he refused to fight Bo-Katan for it, all of her followers up and dipped. They're like, yeah, no, we're out. Like, we're basically,
sucked,
yeah,
dude.
like, you're not the leader of Mandalore if you don't got the dark sword. Like, what the fuck are we going to listen to you for? So they just dip out and start being mercenaries around the, outer rim and the galaxy and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. So Bo-Katan's pretty bummed out about that. She's kind of just sitting around sulking in her castle.
She's like, I've been sitting on this chair for 9 months.
Which, is unfortunate. I understand where she's coming from. That would fucking suck. She basically, like, doesn't give a shit about anything anymore. She's like, why don't you go wave that thing around? They'll fucking follow you wherever you want, man. Like, I don't give a shit anymore. Like, fuck you, blah, 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 blah. Which, again, understandable, right? Like, I think Bo-Katan, like, had this, like, very heavy, like, duty weighing on her. Like, this, like, familial, like, royal fucking shit or whatever that was like, no, I have to bring the people of Mandalore back together. Only to find out that, like, this foundling from a, like, side cult status, like, tribe of Mandalorians is like the true wielder of the Darksaber, right? She's like, man, fuck, this really puts all my shit in perspective. Goddamn, like, what the fuck am I gonna do now if this homie's got it? And basically tells him to fuck off. She's like, yeah, no, I don't want any part of that, man. Like, you go deal with that on your own. Like, sorry, get to Mandalore yourself. Which is a bummer. Obviously, that changes once we get around to episode 2. But that episode pretty much ends with basically just like an action sequence after that, right? He's like dipping and
the pirates come.
Yeah, which was dope. I thought it was fucking sick. I was way down for that sequence.
I'm always down for some fighting sequences, like in their spaceships.
Good dogfighting, bro.
I needed that in the episode 2 because episode 1 felt very just like lighthearted. It felt like,
sure.
all right, come on, Grogu, we're gonna go on some adventures, and
it's kind of like, let's get reacquainted with these Mandalorian characters.
Yeah, and not that I didn't appreciate it, but I very much like the grittier Mandalorian, the more darker sci-fi Mandalorian. You know, I'm gonna bring you in hot, or I'm gonna bring you in cold. Shit like that. So when I see him, like, oh yeah, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go there. I'm like, yeah, but the freaking fight scene at the end brought me back for sure.
Yeah, most definitely.
I loved seeing that. I loved seeing, like, when he would go behind the rock and they'd be like, oh, where is he? And then he'd come back and just blast him out of the air.
Yeah, dude. Epic shit.
Oh my god.
Bro. Yeah.
And then when he's just teaching Grogu's little lessons, and he's like, lesson 1, he's like, never trust a pirate. And
never trust a pirate, little one. Yeah.
Just freaking.
See, that's good shit, because I think right there that is like a cool way to blend those two vibes, right? Like, you do have you're not going to get around the cuteness, right? As long as Baby Grogu's in the picture. Like, there's going to be some lightheartedness with him fucking oohing and eyeing at every little thing with his big old ears and baby eyes and shit like that.
Exactly.
But the fact that Mando can, like, blast a whole fucking fleet of pirates out of the sky and then be like, never trust a pirate, kid. I think it's like a good mesh, right? Of, like, the lightheartedness and, like, the badass Mando that we like to see. But overall, I thought episode 1 was dope. Like, I thought it was a really good way to reintroduce us back into everything that's happening, Again, I think for somebody who watched Book of Boba Fett, I don't know that everything in there was necessary, but at the same time, I do appreciate that they did the recap for folks that might not have watched it, It's not like they go super in-depth about it, but they give you the bare bones of like, hey, Mando fucked up. He took off his helmet too many times, so his people don't accept it anymore. He has to go do this in order to be back in their good graces and whatnot. So I understand why they did it. I think it could have been time more well spent if they just like doubled down on the decision they made of telling some of that story somewhere else, but it doesn't bother me that much. I was very, very on board. I'm just happy to have Mandalorian back.
Oh yeah.
And like
1000%.
happening to my eyeballs again, bro. Like that's all that matters to me.
Yeah. Episode 1 was a good episode.
Yeah.
The pirate design at the end kind of threw me off a little bit.
Oh yeah. The big pirate at the end I thought was definitely them, like this is one thing that like I am 50-50 on when it comes to Star Wars stuff. Like I'm never going to try and like be bummed about people being creative, right? Because in terms of what was actually presented to us on screen, it looks good. Like I think the actual effects in play are super solid. Like I don't think it looks bad. I think at the same time though, Star Wars has like set an establishment of like the types of alien characters that you see in a Star Wars franchise. And when all of a sudden some like Swamp Thing looking motherfucker who's just got like pieces of like greenery and shit all over him hanging off of him that you've never seen before shows up as like this big space pirate bad guy and whatnot, it's kind of like, all right, well, Why doesn't he look like somebody I've already seen? Like, well, I've never heard of this motherfucker before. Like, who the fuck is this? You know?
Yeah,
It just kind of throws you off a little bit.
Yeah, but again, the fight scene, the Naboo starfighter, I'm always down for those dudes. That thing's just
one of my favorite ships
sick.
in Star Wars.
Again, another thing, if you didn't watch The Mandalorian, you'd be like, where the fuck did this fool... Or if you didn't watch the Book of Boba Fett episodes about The Mandalorian...
Where the fuck did this come from?
You're like, dude, you're confused about where did Baby Grogu come from?
Yeah.
And where's this... Again, okay, so let me get into my gripes with that.
Yeah.
So, I appreciated watching the Book of Boba Fett, seeing the Mandalorian cameos, because you're like, okay, I'm down for the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But those two episodes being allocated to just the Mandalorian, we had an episode on this, so if you want to go listen to that, definitely go listen to it. But having 2 episodes allocated to the Mandalorian in here, when you might have had some people that are like, fuck, I don't want to watch the Book of Boba Fett, I only want to watch the Mandalorian.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you're going to have a lot of people that just didn't watch those.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're going to come into season 3 like, okay, where did Baby Grogu come from?
Going on?
Because at the end, we just gave him off to Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
And where did this fucking souped up Naboo starfighter come from? Like, what the fuck?
What's happening?
And then when Baby Grogu comes and just does a flip out of the starfighter, you're like, you're gonna be like,
when are you learn to do that shit?
Like, what the hell? Like, who taught you that? Like,
for sure.
obviously she makes the freaking reference. What's her name? Pelly?
Yeah, I think so. The mechanic. Yeah.
She makes the reference of like, oh, who taught you that? But
yeah.
If you didn't watch those 2 episodes, you wouldn't know it was Luke Skywalker. Oh, I mean, I guess you could assume that it was Luke Skywalker, right?
Yeah.
But again, you'd be like, why is Grogu with the Mandalorian?
Yeah.
You know? And why is all of a sudden the Mandalorian just going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go to the fucking Mines of Mandalore?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. To me, it's like a double-edged sword, because I think it's like the same diagnosis that you could essentially give like anything in the MCU at this point, right? Which is that, like, as cool as it is to have like this really big expanded universe where they do kind of put a little bit of responsibility on the viewer in saying like, okay, look, we don't have time to hold your fucking hand and re-explain all this over again. So we're going to assume that you watched the other content that we put out a while ago in order to keep this moving forward.
I shouldn't have to do that as a consumer.
See, I feel like it's okay. To each their own.
Okay, if I'm a fan of the Mandalorian, I shouldn't have to go and watch the Book of Boba Fett to get Mandalorian stuff. You know what I'm saying?
See, but I think what they're assuming is that like, and maybe this is just because like I have kind of like always wanted to watch all this stuff anyways. Like, I'm gonna watch anything that gets put out, whatever it is. Maybe I'm just a different type of fan. But I think in general, this show is aimed towards Star Wars fans, right? Not necessarily just trying to draw in other people all the time. And the fact that Boba Fett is the first Mandalorian you ever saw, I think they're assuming that if you're on board with watching a show called The Mandalorian, you probably watched Book of Boba Fett, right? And again, I agree with you. It's not the best writing in terms of like a singular show, but being in the place that we're in terms of how we consume media nowadays, it's not like out of left field to me, you know, like I understand. And again, I think it's not like incredibly difficult to be like, hey, all right, I don't know exactly what's going on. Because you don't have to watch all of Book of Boba Fett, right? You can literally just watch episodes 6 and 7 and be completely caught up. Like, it's not like you have to binge through that entire series or anything like that. And so in that sense, again, maybe this is just because I subscribe to this type of like media consumption, but I personally don't have a problem with the studios putting a little bit more like quote unquote responsibility on the viewer of like, hey, if you didn't watch that, that's on you. Like, we have this train that's chugging along. We can't dedicate an entire episode of the season to catching you up on something that we've already produced. Go watch that yourself. Like, it's there. It exists on the very same platform. It's a couple clicks away. Like, that doesn't bother me quite as much. But again, that might just be because I'm down for this type of media. Like, I am gonna watch and consume all of the little bits and pieces, including the holiday specials and the Halloween specials and this and that, regardless of what they're putting out. So it might just be a different perspective, because at the same time, I do understand. Like, I think I wouldn't call it lazy, but I think it is very different from how a traditional TV show runs, to have pretty big parts of the plot be told in a different person's show.
Yeah, I just don't think you should have such big pieces to the puzzle shown in someone else's show. Like if you want to,
it's the MCU.
If you want to do like a little check-in with Grogu, right?
Yeah.
And then at the beginning of season 2 or beginning of season 3, you go back and just pick them up, right? Like
Yeah.
that's fine. Like, okay, if you didn't see that extra content of like some Luke Skywalker and some Ahsoka, like that's on you. But
It's Marvel, man. It's Marvel getting into everything, you know?
Yeah, but
because I think they've been doing that for years. Like you look back at something like Endgame or Infinity War or really any of the Avengers movies, right? Like you really can't just jump into any one of those movies. Like there's even certain singular properties. Like you take something like Captain America Civil War. Like if you had only seen Captain America 1 and 2, by the time you get to Civil War, you're going to be like, what the fuck is happening right now? I don't know any of these people. Who's that? Who's this motherfucker? Who's that? It's just like, I think it's just part of how Disney in particular runs their machine. You know what I mean? They know you're probably watching everything. And so I think they assume that you've seen the other media that they've put out, which, like I said, double-edged sword. I think it comes with benefits. I think it also comes with non-benefits. Because like I said, I appreciate that we didn't have to waste the first episode of this season of Mandalorian doing a recap. We were able to jump right into business and only spend like the first 5 minutes being like, hey, you removed your helmet. Nobody likes you anymore. And then that's it. You can jump right into it, right? Versus like, I think I would have been more disappointed if the entire first episode of Mandalorian was basically like a recap episode. You know, that's an episode wasted in season 3.
I think for me, just I completely agree and I understand. But I think for me, the big thing is like having one property just in another show. Like those big points in another show. Like if these are big pieces, like if these are big parts of the story that you have to tell that you just don't want to tell at the beginning of season 3 because it's going to take up time. Like they do like a Euphoria type thing where they just drop like a Jules episode and like a freaking
their little specials on the side.
their little specials. Like if that's what needs to be told, like then just do something like that. And then one, you're still adding the viewership to the show that's already running in The Mandalorian, and you're also not taking away from the story of the Book of Boba Fett, because you can say like, because that was what, like 8. The Book of Boba Fett was what, 8 episodes?
I think around there, yeah.
And so 2 of those episodes aren't even about the Book of Boba Fett. So now you're only writing a 6-episode show. So it's like, I just want some consistency, you know, like don't sacrifice one show because you want to prop up another show. Yeah. Then it's like, what's the point of that other show even, right? Yeah. If the point of Book of Boba Fett was to get to 6 and 7 and tell the Mandalorian and then just to have this quick wrap up episode of episode 8, what's the point of the Book of Boba Fett then? You know?
I hear what you're saying. I think that's maybe why like it didn't bother me as much, is because like in my mind, that actually is Disney being consistent, right? Because that is what they've been doing for the last like 10 years, more or less. I think it would be more of a switch up on their part if they actually took time to like each individual project gets its own time. Because I think at this point for ever since like 2012 at the least with Avengers, like even a little bit of it has been dedicated to like building up some other movie or building up some other franchise or building up some other story or whatnot. And like, that is very, very comic booky for sure. It's a lot different than I think what we're used to in terms of like how TV and movies and stuff traditionally airs, right? Like there's the jokes and memes all the time, right? It's like, damn, it's 2025 or whatever, and I have to watch like 10 Marvel shows, 45 movies, and like this and this and that just to watch the next Avengers and whatnot. And so it is different for sure. But I do think it's just what we're dealing with now, you know? I don't think they're not going to do that anymore. Like, I think that's just kind of the norm for how Disney produces their shit from now on. They're going to cross-play.
I'm going to still watch that shit. Yeah. I'm just pissed off that I got to go to 2 different fucking shows. But I'm going to still watch them. But yeah, episode 2 of The Mandalorian was fucking great. I loved that shit compared to episode 1. Like, I was glad that they got back on the dark sci-fi shit. Yeah. We have the Mandalorian going to Mandalore. He
looks awful.
It looks awful, man.
It got wrecked.
It got
completely destroyed.
But I kind of liked how it looked, dude. Yeah, it looked fucking awesome.
It's like eerily beautiful to look at. Yeah, for sure.
I like that in the beginning we have We have Mando teaching Grogu about like the different planets and how like a Mandalorian always needs to know like where he's going and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like,
So
that
that
shows obviously because it pays off in the end.
Yeah, he's like, what does he say? He's like, a Mandalorian needs to understand the charts and maps of the galaxy. That way, wherever he goes, he can never be lost. I was like, wow, holy shit, that's fucking cool.
Great job, Joel. I mean, freaking Din Djarin.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. I saw this one the other day that cracked me up. It's the scene where Ellie and Joel are in the truck, and she's got the map out, and it shows Ellie, and she points, and she's like, this is the way. And then it's just a shot of Joel, like, looking over her, like, come on.
Not to go back to The Last of Us too much, but I really liked the point in the episode when he's like, oh, here, I got Chef Boyardee. And there's, like, a quick moment of him, like, smiling hella and like holding it up, and I fucking
just like soft Joel, like just not all hardened and shit, like just trying to be good dad and shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But episode 2 of The Mandalorian, we get to Mandalore. Actually, before we get to Mandalore, we see him go to Mos Espa, picks up the homie R5D4.
Yeah.
A little callback to the freaking A New Hope, you know.
The old
homie,
school droids.
the old school droid, or that's actually the homie that freaking Luke was supposed to pick up.
Oh,
instead of R2D2
on Tatooine and shit. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And fun fact,
fries.
And fun fact, there's a little comic that's actually Skippy, the freaking the droid Jedi. He's supposedly in a comic. He's a force sensitive Jedi.
Droid?
Yeah, he's a force sensitive droid.
Oh shit. Okay.
And he made himself break on purpose so that R2D2 could fulfill
the
prophecy that his duty that he needed to do.
That's cool.
So without him,
Star Wars would have never happened.
Star Wars would have never.
The Empire would have won.
Yeah, the Empire would have fucking won. Yeah. God damn it, fascism would have prevailed at the end of the day.
We can't have that, man. Fuck no. Damn, crazy.
Yeah,
good shit.
But
way to go, Skippy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so we get Mando coming to Mos Espa. He's trying to ask Peli like, "Hey man, I need a freaking part for IG-11." She's like, "Fuck, bro. Like,
oh goddamn.
Sorry, like they don't make that shit anymore.
Yeah.
So we're shit out of luck. But hey, I can give you this droid. He can help you out.
Yeah.
He can tell you if the air's toxic on Mandalore or not. Mm-hmm. And hey, he's a fucking brave ass little droid from the Republic era who's meant to fly the galaxy and go on adventures. And this was hella scary. He's not. He's not.
He's a little bitch.
She's like, and I'll sell him hella cheap to you.
Yeah.
So Mando gets him, and then they fly to Mandalore. Uh-huh. And when they're flying there, he's showing him like the Mandalorian like system, like, oh, this is where freaking I was. This is where I was. This is where I was raised.
Yeah.
Oh, this is where we were at with Bo-Katan at the last episode when she told us to fuck off and never come back. Like, sorry. So they get to Mandalore. You think they're gonna crash because they're going through some hard freaking some turbulence. They're flying through the atmosphere of the upper atmosphere, whatever they call it there on Mandalore.
Yeah.
And they finally get to there, and we see the destruction of Mandalore. It looks fucked up. There's
Wrecked.
glass everywhere.
Yeah.
The Empire done came and
glass that
fucked
shit, man.
everything up.
Yeah, it got wrecked. Absolutely
man.
destroyed.
Sorry. R.I.P. to Mandalorians, man.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up, man. It's like definitely I hope that's something they dive into like a little bit more, is just the ruthlessness of the Empire, right? Like I think as big and bad as they seem, you don't really get like a lot of examples of like the aftermath, right? You always see the Death Star firing off and everything like that, but you don't see what happens to like people afterwards, you know, or like when a fleet of fucking Star Destroyers comes and just like absolutely torches a planet really quick and shit like that. Like, it's cool. I think it's nice to see like, well, not cool, obviously, because it's very fucked up, but
not cool.
It's interesting to see the after effects that the Empire has on the galaxy, like all these years later, right? Like Mando takes place like what, 7 years after Return of the Jedi or something like that, and we're like 3 years along now, so we're basically a decade out from them being around, and even still, you're seeing some of the effects that they have on the galaxy, right? Like they fucked shit up in those 20 years that they were in power, man, and it has not left the people's minds yet. So
definitely not.
Yeah, but yeah, I think there was a little bit of tension, right, in terms of like, were the rumors true? Were they not? I think like we don't really know. You maybe have your suspicions until obviously Mando like hops out the ship himself and like goes to try to find R5.
Freaking the moral of the Mandalorian is never trust a rumor, motherfucker.
Never trust a rumor, man. Used to be never trust a droid, but he got over that because he became friends with IG-11.
Oh, IG-11's got a cool.
Yeah.
I guess I'll take R5D4 with me, bro.
That's fine. Now never trust a rumor. Yeah, so they show up. The planet is not fine, but breathable air. right? You can walk the surface of Mandalore and you'll be chilling. It's not a big deal. It's not poison in the atmosphere and shit like that.
Bo-Katan was wrong.
She would, yeah.
Mandalorian's not cursed.
No, Bo-Katan was right. Bo-Katan was
right.
telling him all
Bo-Katan was
along.
right.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody else told him that
Yeah.
fucking Mandalore was cursed. She's the
the
only
armor,
one.
you lying ass bitch.
Yeah, honestly, bro, like at this point, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like she needs a little bit of comeuppance. Like whether it's just her finally surrendering to him coming back like from the living waters and with the Darksaber and shit like that. She's been like pawning off a lot of like really wrongfully informed rumors for
She needs
a
to
long
be
time.
brought back down to Mandalore.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
for sure. Like she's been talking a lot of shit on some shit she don't know about. You know what I mean? So yeah, he goes down. A couple of cool action sequences, some trippy looking aliens that we get to look at. Bo-Katan names them. I can't remember what they're called, but almost gets wrecked. We get to see the Darksaber again, which is dope. It's always fun to see that in action, right? Din Djarin still can't really wield it too well. He's very unfocused still, right? So it's not I think we're explained to in what is it, the Book of Boba Fett, right? When he has that whole fight sequence with the big burly Mandalorian dude, that the Darksaber in a sense is like kind of alive, right? Like it's not just gonna bend to your will. You have to work with it, and you have to be like of a clear mind and blah 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 and shit like that in order to like wield it properly. And obviously, Armando, Mr. Din Djarin, has a lot of bullshit going on in his head right now, a lot of conflicting ideas and everything like that. So he's not really working well with the Darksaber. We see he's still kind of struggling with it, right? It takes him a bit to lift it, like swinging around and shit like that. But he still kicks ass because he's fucking...
He's Mando.
Yeah, he's
gonna
the
kick
Mando.
ass.
Yeah, he still fucks shit up. And so he gets out of it, and then him and Grogu do some exploring. I fucking loved the shot of him just like hopping off the thing and like jetpacking down, bro. Like it just looks fucking sick to me.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, I love Grogu fucking piloting his own little freaking...
his little carrier and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that shit
it's
was
fucking
awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, they fucking fly down and fucking Mando gets ambushed by a fucking sketch ass looking alien,
Freaky
bro.
looking thing. Reminded me of like
Ooh.
General Grievous for some reason.
Yeah, it was fucking fucking homie was giving Grievous bro.
Vibes, right? Yeah, for sure. So yeah, he just absolutely fucking taken out of nowhere. Gets fucking dosed up with some like space drugs real quick too and gets knocked the fuck out. Like,
does it get with space? Was it?
yeah,
with space
he
drugs?
like injects him with something really quick and it like knocks him out. And then he's like trying to like take his blood later after that and whatnot.
That shit was freaking creepy.
Pretty gross, yeah. Pretty
yeah,
nasty.
but the sequence where you see, because he's in this big freaking crab like
Yeah.
looking, and it was reminding me back to. Did you ever play like The Force Unleashed?
Yeah.
Remember when you go to that kind of like that junk planet?
Yeah, for sure.
It reminded me of like shit like
Those
that,
guy-
like
yeah,
those
shit you'd
big
fight on
guys.
there. Yeah, most definitely.
So I was like, oh, is it one of them? Like they're
Maybe.
just on Mandalore?
Yeah.
But then you get to his fucking lair, and you see the eye move out of like this, the
Yeah.
freaking that middle section, and you see this like the little spikes come out. and-
Yeah.
oh yeah, that shit was gross.
Yeah,
bro.
he's like a cyborg because
Yeah.
he's essentially, from what I was able to understand, looks like just the eye and like maybe like a brain inside of there, I guess, is like the only living organism part of him left. Everything else is just all machine. Like,
Yeah.
very Star Wars, right? We have a lot of cyborgs in Star Wars.
Yeah, but he puts Mando on this like little rotisserie thing, and you're just
he's about
like,
to cook his ass up, dude.
yeah, this fool's done this before, and his like he's done this a lot.
Yeah.
And it's-
Grogu makes an attempt, right? He shows up really quick and tries to
Dude, I loved that, and I fucking literally said out loud, I was like, his first little Jedi adventure, go!
yeah, and then he's like fucking he's like, get the fuck out of here, man. He's like, go find Bo-Katan and get back here and everything. Yeah. It's pretty dope.
Dude, I love that he just, put his little freaking Sherlock Holmes detective hat on. He's like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna go find my dad right now.
Yeah.
And he fucking goes down there.
Yeah.
That shit was awesome, bro. And I love the little sequence when he's like darting back, like floating back, like, oh, that
Yeah,
shit was
sick
so
shit,
awesome.
dude. Yeah, it looks
it
dope.
reminded me of like kind of a little bit like episode 1, like Phantom Menace, when they're getting back from like the Gungan freaking city.
Oh, yeah.
And they're freaking flying back in the little boat, and like the little fish is trying to freaking
Chase him out and
chase
shit.
after
Yeah,
him.
yeah. Good little chase
It
sequence. Yeah.
reminded me of that a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah, that shit was awesome. And then seeing him go back up and then get to the ship, and right before he gets to the ship, he freaking flips over and
Yeah.
freaking sits in the. I will say I didn't like that they put the sequence of him like doing the force push of that freaking alien outside the cave like in the trailer.
Oh, and then you just see it right away.
Yeah, and you just see it because like
I do.
That would have been a nice like surprise to be like, oh
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
I do. For me personally, I like when I see a lot of what is in the trailers early on in the season, because that tells me like obviously they have to make a trailer, right? Like Disney's not going to let them get away without doing any marketing whatsoever.
Yeah.
So when they're willing to put something as dope as that, like Baby Yoda, like force pushing an alien, like, or Grogu, I should say. Apparently it's against Disney rules to say Baby Yoda. But yeah, like force pushing a full fledged fucking alien, like that's dope, right? But the fact that they're like ballsy enough to be like, nah, we'll put that in the trailer. We have like 8 more episodes of badass shit to show you. Don't worry about it. Like that always gives me confidence, you know, when I see shit early on.
That's true.
I'm like, okay, that means they have a lot more up their sleeve that they weren't willing to put in the trailer because they want us to be able to experience that type of shit for the first time.
I just would have loved to see his first like act, like, you know, not that he's not done a force push before.
Yeah.
But seeing it in action to where he, you know, has the wherewithal to be like, all right, I gotta fucking do this right now. You know, let me put my Jedi training to fucking work to use right here.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have just like been like just surprised with that, you know, like,
Yeah.
oh my god. Whoa.
My favorite Grogu moment still, and I think it is going to be hard to top, is like the end of season 1 when he just basically like catches the fire. Like the fucking explosion happens or whatever, and like Din's fucked up and everything like that, and he just like stops the fucking gigantic wall of flame with the force and shit. Fucking epic, bro. Like that's gonna be hard to top. I don't know. That's some pretty dope ass baby Grogu shit.
That's true.
Yeah.
Baby Grogu.
Yeah, I was actually laughing because I was watching. His name's Graham Norton. He's like a BBC talk show host.
Uh-huh.
And Pedro Pascal's on there, right? And he's talking, and he's like, he's getting caught up in the chat and whatnot, and he's like, yeah, it's like Baby Yoda, and he's like, yeah, Baby Yoda, and he's like, oh, that's the first time I've ever said that. And like Graham Norton's like, what? Why? And he's like, oh, it's just against the rules. We got to make sure we call him Grogu. They don't want us calling him Baby Yoda all the time.
I fucking did see
Yeah,
that.
shit's funny, dude. Yeah,
Shit was so funny.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we see Din tells Grogu, hey, you got to get back to Bo-Katan. So he does his little adventure, gets back to the ship, and then flies off to Bo-Katan. And I love that little callback moment to the beginning of the episode when Grogu's telling him about the planets, like, hey, this is where Bo-Katan was at. That's where we were just at.
Yeah.
And then Grogu has to use that.
Like, there.
He's got to use that knowledge. He's telling R5D4, hey, right here.
This one.
Right here, this one.
Uh-huh.
And R5's like, all right, cool.
Yeah, let's go. He's
Yeah,
like,
let's
I don't
go.
wanna
Let's
be
get,
here
let's
either,
get the
bro.
fuck
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's the other guy? I don't care. Let's get out of here.
Dip. Yeah.
And yeah, when Bo-Katan's just like, oh, we're just gonna get rid of this guy once and for all. Then she sees this baby. It's Grogu.
Yeah, Grogu.
He's
I think we can still call him Baby Grogu, just not Baby Yoda.
I just don't even want to say baby, bro. I don't even want to.
He's a big boy now.
Yeah, he's a big boy now,
He's
man.
growing up.
He had his
man.
first little Jedi adventure.
Exactly.
Oh god damn it.
Yeah, he. I like the just. You still get a little bit of the standoffishness of Bo-Katan, right? Because she walks up and she's like, "Hey, motherfucker! I thought I told you never to come back here." Oh, what's up, Grogu? She's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
it's just
she's
you.
like,
Where
"Oh,
the
yeah."
fuck's your dad?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good shit.
And then she flies on over there. Then her ship is pretty fucking badass. And I like that she was like,
dude.
you thought your dad was the only
Oh,
Mandalorian?
dude, yeah, it's clean. Yeah, she fucks shit up, bro. I
Dude.
love seeing the action sequence with
Her
her.
fight scenes were awesome. I love seeing like the difference between her and Din, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
her like being a super trained fighter.
Yep.
And
She
you know,
fights with the little energy shield
Hey,
on her wrist and shit, bro. The double pistols.
Awesome,
Sick
bro.
shit. Dude, when she
Fucking
uses
awesome.
that little shield and the dark saber, I was fucking floored, bro. Anytime she had the dark saber in her hands, I was like, holy God, what am I witnessing?
yeah,
This is
when she
fucking
goes to
sick.
save him and she's like laying there and I'm like, fucking grab that shit.
Pick it
And
up,
she
pick it up,
fucking
pick it up.
and she shoots her little grapple and pulls it back. I was like,
Oh,
oh
dude.
fuck yeah. And dude,
So epic.
just seeing her like effortlessly,
Yeah.
like just oh my goodness, bro, that
It-
shit was fire.
It does have me wondering, like, what the outcome of that is going to be, right? Because, like, as satisfying as it would be to see Din Djarin finally, like, master his own emotions and, like, confusing thoughts and, you know, conflicting ideas and this and that and be able to wield the dark sword properly, I do think it would also be dope as fuck to see Bo-Katan finally step up into her role of like the leader of Mandalore. I think for me personally, I wouldn't be disappointed either way. If they want to give us the switch up and it turns out that like Din is like, you know, like I don't really give a fuck about leading Mandalore. I want to respect my culture and respect my people and make sure I follow by the traditions and things like that. But at the end of the day, I just want to protect this little kid. Like, I don't need to be leader of Mandalore. Like, that's you. That's not me. So, like, I don't know. I'm 50-50. Like I said, I'd be down either way. Because I think at this point, with these first 2 episodes, they've definitely, like, presented us with a very cool duo, right? Because, like, as you get closer after the whole action sequence ends and stuff like that, Bo-Katan takes Mando down to the living waters, right? She's like, you never would have found these motherfuckers without me, bro. It would have taken you forever.
I was like almost taken back by how willing she was to be like, oh yeah, I'll take you there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it seems like she doesn't want any part of what he's doing. And he's
100%.
like, all right, I got to go. And she's just like, all right, cool, I'll take you there.
Well, I think what it is like the way that I understood it is that I think at this point realizes she's not going to be able to get rid of this motherfucker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's going to be around, right? They're going to interact and shit like that. And so in my mind, her goal as a character, as a person is like, all right, I know this is bullshit, which it's not. But she's like, I know this is bullshit. I've been being fed this story, this myth my whole life. Let me just show this motherfucker what's up really quick. I'm going to show him it's just a pool of water with nothing going on so we can get the fuck out of here and he can stop chasing this fantasy. Mm-hmm. And then, lo and behold, shit was fucking real all along, bro. And that mythosaurus down there fucking doing some shit, bro.
Dude, I was
man, I lost my shit,
oh my
bro.
God, the mythosaur. Holy fuck.
Yeah, that was cool, man. Like, that's one thing. I think I want to say we were talking about this, like, at some point or another, but I like that they are keeping within the continuity, so to speak, even within the show, right? Because, like, you go back to some of the earliest episodes of The Mandalorian and if
we're going to talk about continuity, we do got to talk about who is the actual holder of the Darksaber, right?
Oh, Din Djarin.
Okay. But
because Bo-Katan never beats him in any fight.
Okay, but if we're going to talk about the Darksaber has to be won in battle, right?
Yeah.
Technically, the last person to win the Darksaber in battle was Darth Maul.
Before? Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
The last one to
well,
actually...
Well, Palpatine, actually, if you think about it. Because Palpatine wrecks Maul and Savage Opress while he's trying to wield that shit. Mm-hmm. And then at that point, you're right, continuity gets a little bit
because then
weird.
Is it like the Elder One where you kind of just got to disarm anyone with any wand, and then the Elder One's like, all right, cool, I got you, right? Because then in that case, freaking
technically
Darth Vader
beats
freaking Palpatine, right?
Yeah.
No one beats Darth Vader.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I guess you could say Luke beats Darth Vader.
Beats him with emotion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. beats him with the emotion.
Yeah, he beats him with the feels, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then technically Luke is the freaking wielder of the Darksaber.
I think I agree with you there. I think it is a little bit muddy in terms of where it transfers over from pre-Clone Wars to post-Clone Wars. But I think, again, in terms of what we've had in this show, I think the continuity has been pretty strong.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. So, because, like, I mean, as far as we know, Moff Gideon is the wielder of the Darksaber when we come around to, season 2 Mandalorian, right? End of season 1 or whatever. And then, Mando wins that shit 100%, beats it out of him for sure, takes the Darksaber. And then nobody's really challenged him yet. Anybody who has still hasn't won, right? Like,
well, the homie freaking from the 2 episodes of...
Yeah, but he still gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Mando still beats him in the end. So nobody's beat him yet. It's still technically his Din Djarin's, in terms of the tradition of the Darksaber and shit like that. Because I think also, too, the other thing as well is, like, I have a feeling that, like, that is more a part of, like, Mandalorian culture than it is, like, the actual inner workings of, like, the quote-unquote living weapon that the Darksaber is, right? Mm-hmm. Because I think Bo-Katan wields that shit no fucking problem way better than Din Djarin does. It's not like it just stops working for her because she didn't win it from him in battle, right? Like, I think just among Mandalorian culture, they don't respect you as being, like, the leader of Mandalore unless you beat the previous wielder in like hand-to-hand combat, you know? So it's muddy. Maybe we'll get a little more explanation to it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I won't argue with the continuity of the show. Like, I 1000% agree that.
From season 1 of Mando to season 3 of Mando.
Yeah, that Din Djarin is for sure the wielder of the Darksaber. I just like poking out those little freaking like, hey man, this is
Where'd
what
it go
you,
in those 20 years?
this is what you've also said. So if we're gonna go by what you said,
yeah, if we want to just pull a little quick writing session here, we could say that over the course of the Empire coming about and shit like that, right? Maybe Palpatine like decided to gift it to Moff Gideon or put it in somebody else's hands somehow. Darth Vader was kind of slapped around a lot in his early days of being Darth Vader. He wasn't badass right out the gate, so maybe Moff Gideon is already a dope fighter that wins that shit from Vader in a sense somewhere early on. Maybe they'll write a comic about it one day. Who fucking knows?
probably.
But there's a possibility, right? There's like 20 years, give or take, of like kind of just black and white or gray that we don't really know what the fuck happened to the Darksaber.
Exactly. But the Mythosaur.
Yeah.
Are we gonna see fucking Din Djarin ride that motherfucker this season?
I think so. Like I said, I am kind of down for it to be either him or Bo-Katan, because I think as much as I would like to see our title character, like, you know, rise to the occasion and be the chosen one and this and that, I think it would also be very interesting to see what it's like if he has like he doesn't want anything to do with it, you know?
Yeah.
Like he's just like, yo, that's cool. And like, I want to be a dope Mandalorian. I want to follow our culture and shit like that. I respect you, Mr. Mythosaur. But you see this chick right here? She's been doing this her whole life. Like, I just started on this quest. Maybe you should look at her. And like, Bo-Katan is the one who gets to like really bring back the Mandalorians and everything like that, you know? Like, I'm not saying don't make Din Djarin a big part of that, but shit, man, it's fucking Pedro Pascal again. In the same way that like, for me personally, Ellie is the main character of The Last of Us, not Joel. Joel is the protector, supporter, everything. He's definitely a big character, but it's Ellie's story at the end of the day, right? And so in the same sense, I think it would be cool to see what it would be like if, again, you don't take away from any of his screen time. He's still who we see most of the time and everything like that. But in terms of the story that they're trying to tell, maybe this is more like a little bit of Bo-Katan's rise to like bringing back the Mandalorians and shit like that, you know? And he's kind of just there to help that shit along.
I like that.
I'd be down for either one.
Din Djarin's just freaking Jon Snow at the end of the day. When
Yeah.
it comes down to it, he's like, "Yeah, I just want to go back to the wall, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to go back to the
I
wall.
just want to spend time with my boy,
and hang out,
teaching him how to chart the star systems.
Exactly.
You know, maybe show him how to fly a ship. Maybe he could teach me the Force a little bit. Like,
Yeah, I'm pretty interested to see who they pick to ride the Mythosaur. I was definitely super surprised that I saw it. I was freaking out. I was like, "What the fuck,
Yeah.
bro?
Yeah.
That shit's crazy.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, pretty fucking hype moment, I'm not gonna lie. And then the episode fucking ends, bro. Shit.
Perfect, bro. I thought a perfect
What a
ending.
good cliffhanger, right?
Such a great episode. I think a little bit longer, like 40 something minutes or
Yeah,
something like
definitely
that.
longer than the first episode. I think the first one was only like
Beautiful.
35, 37 minutes. Mwah.
Chef's freaking kiss.
Chef's geese.
Yeah. Episode 2, The Mandalorian, I think is like, I would say like a 9.7, like super close to a 10 for me.
Yeah. I'll probably give it right around there too, honestly. 9.5, 9.6, 9.7. There's nothing off the top of my head that I can think of that I thought was like anything wrong with it, right? I just feel like if I really wanted to watch and analyze it, I could probably poke a hole or two in it, you know?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't
exactly.
give a shit. It's a 10. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
It's
just
fucking good.
I'm just hyped to have Mando back. I think more than anything, that's influencing a lot of my like first watches in particular of this, right? It's like, yeah, we got Book of Boba Fett at the end of last year, but we haven't had new Mandalorian content since like 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a while. Like we're almost a year and a half, 2 years out since we've had, right? I think that's when season 2 of Mando came out, was 2021,
I think so.
if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I'm
we
just glad he's
I
back.
definitely don't think we had Mando.
Last
year.
last year, yeah.
Yeah.
Aside for some Boba Fett.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just glad he's back, man. I'm glad
The
to
Book
be
of Mandalorian Fett.
the Book of Mandalorian Fett, the Book of Boba Mando.
The Book of Boba Mando.
Dude, I saw this one that cracked me up the other day too. It's like the sequence of like, did you remove your helmet? It's like, yes. And it's like, then you are no longer a Mandalorian. It's like, get out of my sight, whatever. And he's like, fine, I'm gonna go hang out with Boba Fett. And then it shows them, and he's all. And then she told me that I couldn't be a Mandalorian anymore. And Boba's like, dude, you have the Darksaber. Why don't you just tell her she can't be a Mandalorian anymore? It's like, what are you talking about, dude?
God damn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was The Mandalorian. Definitely go check that shit out. Season 3 is out now.
Sure.
We've been going for a cool ass minute, so I say we pick probably like one of the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
two that we were
I'm
gonna
down.
do.
We can even just throw out a quick fucking little bit of both if you want. Honestly.
I'm down. Yeah.
Just more. Let's try a new sequence here.
Yeah.
We're gonna go streamline just review.
Exactly.
Just down to the bare bones review of what we
Exactly.
thought of these movies.
So let's do Creed. So what?
Okay.
So as a first time Creed viewer, what did you think about Creed?
I was
Creed 3 for everyone.
Yeah, Creed 3. I was very pleasantly surprised. I think that you and I are both in the same camp of not being like the hugest fans of Michael B. Jordan. That being said, he did a great job, both acting and directing. In my mind, I thought he did a really good job of. I'd learned this from you, but like bringing kind of more anime style influence into a more live action movie. I want to see more like this. I saw somebody in an interview junket asking him when he was going to be ready to direct a Dragon Ball movie.
Oh,
And quite frankly, at this point, I don't want to see anybody else do it except for him.
exactly.
So I was very pleasantly surprised. I just watched a fuckload of videos on like everything that happens in Rocky. I don't think it's like the deepest lore filled thing ever. If anybody out there has never seen a Rocky or a Creed movie before, do yourself a favor of watching them if you have the time. But if you don't, you're not going to be that lost. Like I think it's a pretty easy movie to jump into, you know, which I appreciate. I don't think that he needed to, nor do I think he did like rely on a lot of past knowledge of either Rocky or Creed. You know, like I think this is a very self-contained story.
Yeah.
Like it starts within the conflict between him and Dame starts in this movie and ends in this movie, right? You don't need to see any other Creed shit to really know what's going on. I think obviously certain emotional things like his mom, him and Tessa Thompson, their daughter and shit like that probably like hit better if you've seen some of the other stuff. But I appreciate that he made like a singular movie, you know? Like like we were just talking about earlier, like a lot of media is consumed and populated by having a lot of prerequisites in order to understand what's going on. I don't think that's the case in this movie. I think you can walk into this and just enjoy it for what it is, just on its own.
Definitely. Yeah. I really, really enjoy this movie as well. I'm a huge fan of the Rocky franchise. I grew up watching that with my dad. Like I remember my dad showing me the Rocky and just always watching those. Like whenever my grandparents would come over and watch me, or whenever my dad's mom, my grandma would come over and watch me, like I would always pop in Rocky 4, Rocky 3, like always watch those. Like such a great movie franchise. I mean, the quintessential like underdog story when we're talking about Rocky. Like when you're talking about an underdog story, you better be talking about motherfucking Rocky.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, Rocky's the one. Rocky's the blueprint for like this is the underdog story here. You know, this like Italian stallion motherfucker that comes from Rocco. But yeah, when the Creed series came out, I was definitely very wary because of my love of Rocky, right?
Yeah.
Like, Apollo Creed is such a big character when you are in those first few movies.
Yeah. All the way up to, like, what, 4, right? It's when he finally dies.
Because you have first and 2 where Rocky fight... Well, the 1 and 2 where Rocky fights Apollo. Yeah, he fights him the first time, Apollo wins. Rocky fights him the second time, Rocky wins. And then... Rocky trains him in the third one because he loses to Mr. T, who is Clubber Lang. So Rocky fights Clubber Lang in the beginning, loses, goes to Apollo Creed. He's like, yo, I need someone to train. Train me. Apollo Creed trains him, and then he comes back, beats Clubber Lang. Then in number 4, Rocky, or...
Ivan Drago.
Ivan Drago kills Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
Super sad, super crazy.
Yeah.
Again, I was listening to a podcast. I wish I would have grown up and watched that movie in the theaters because, I mean, okay, so we live in a time where there's a bunch of leaks. You know, if Rocky 4 would have come out today, we'd probably be like, there'd be a leak about, the script, like, Apollo might die, blah, blah, blah. But in the 80s...
You had to be shocked by that.
Going into that movie, not knowing anything, and to see Apollo die, crazy,
what the fuck is happening? Yeah.
And like I was listening to this podcast, and this guy was talking about watching Rocky 4 in the theaters and how much of an experience that was, and how like when those fight scenes were happening, like people were jumping up, like like clapping, like throwing stuff, like oh my gosh, like I wish I could have grown up. Like it's like an Avengers Endgame style,
for
but
Rocky.
like on steroids because of like how crazy people
they were
going.
on steroids.
Exactly, because they were on steroids. But yes, I was very wary about the Creed series when it came out, but Creed 1, I really, really liked it. Creed 2, I'm down for. Not as good as Creed 1. And Creed 3, I really enjoyed it, man. I was down for some Jonathan Majors. I loved seeing him play Damian Anderson, basically just another version of Kang the Conqueror.
Honestly, it's just another Kang variant, dude.
And yeah, I definitely agree that you didn't necessarily have to watch the other movies to understand. You're not gonna. I think if you don't watch the other movies or just come into this blind, you're not gonna understand like the Drago references, like to the first two, like the fucking what's the fucking fool's name that he fights in the beginning? I forget what it is. It's
It's a dude he fights in Rocky.
It's
1.
Pretty Boy Kevin Conley or something like that. Yeah, like
in Creed 1. Right?
Yeah. You're not going to understand those references if you just come in blind. But again, like, you know, you're not going to be confused by like, oh, this dude has a wife. Oh, and he has a daughter.
Yeah,
and like the daughter's deaf. And like
the main like core story and the main drama is all explained to you within this movie.
Yeah. This very much separates the Creed franchise from Rocky. Even though they're all under the same umbrella, this definitely is a step away from Rocky. Not because, I mean, even because like Sylvester Stallone's not in this movie. And that's not because story reasons. That's literally because like behind the scenes, like him and one of the producers like just don't get along and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so that kind of sucks because I would have loved to have seen Rocky in this movie. Because I mean, just going back and watching clips of Rocky last night, like the scenes where he's like super motivational and just giving those speeches, like
good inspirational
it's
shit.
awesome, man. Like that hits home. But I think this is a movie that you didn't necessarily need Rocky, and like I wasn't missing him in the movie.
From
like,
what I understand from how Creed 2 ended as well, I think it would have been like a little weird to try and bring him back because he leaves, right, to go finally like make amends with his son in Canada and whatnot.
Yeah.
So like I think it'd be a little weird to like pull him out of the woodworks and everything.
Yeah.
And on top of that too, like I think it is important. Again, I only saw the cliff notes of this, right? But there is a line in one of the Creed movies where Rocky just tells him straight up, he's like, "This is your time now, man. Like, I don't need to be up there in the celebration and everything. Like, you essentially passing the torch of the franchise to Michael B. Jordan, right?"
Yeah.
So I think it would have been a little bit walking back in terms of what they've set up in the previous movies, as cool as it would have been to see a cameo here and there. Maybe he's like watching the fight in Canada or something, you know, you just see him really quick. But he's probably also old as fuck, right? Like, didn't he just beat cancer in like the last two Creed movies or something like that?
Yeah, in the first one he like beats cancer and stuff like that. Exactly. That's what I was saying. When I was talking to Diggs after the movie, I was like, you know, I wasn't like missing Rocky in this movie, and it's like, and it's also like, what do you want from this guy? Like, I beat cancer already. Like, I've helped
I beat
you out.
Ivan
like
Drago.
Like, I beat
I beat communism with boxing, bro.
I beat all of Russia.
Yeah.
You know, for the United States of America.
Yeah.
And
he got Russians to cheer for him.
Exactly,
like,
dude.
That's insane.
Like, it's like, what more do you want from this guy?
Yeah.
But again, I wasn't like necessarily missing him from this movie. I definitely didn't think he was needed. And again, I like seeing Michael B. Jordan, Adonis Creed getting, you know, just the light shined on them, right? We don't have to worry about Rocky. We're just worrying about him. And yeah, again, I have to echo, Michael B. Jordan did a great job in his directorial debut.
100%.
Obviously recruiting, Jonathan Majors was a huge addition to this movie.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Fucking great, man. I mean,
I'll watch anything he's in, man.
Exactly. Yeah. Just adds so much to those.
He's magnetic, bro.
He is, man. He just
commands
knows
the screen.
He just knows how to play a role. Definitely commands the screen. Like every time he was on the screen, I was like just sucked in. I was glued in, man. Like I was ready to go.
Yep.
But yeah, everything was great. The fight scenes were awesome.
Fuck yeah. Really good fight sequences.
I love Creed 3, man. I love it. I love it.
I'll probably give it like an 8 or 8.5, you know? Like there are bits and pieces of it that I probably could have done without here and there, you know? Like there's little moments where like Adonis Creed is like driving through the streets and he's like, "Oh, my life's so hard." And he's like looking at a picture of like what just looks like a Michael B. Jordan Versace shoot or something like that. And I'm like, all right, that seems a little product placement. But like everything else in the movie though that's actually pertains to the story is done really well. For a first time director, I think he did a really good job.
Yeah. I was around the same rating. I would say like 8.5. Like it was great. Like it encapsulated to me, like it reminded me a lot of like Rocky 3 and Rocky 5. Like the best parts of Rocky 3 and Rocky 5. As much as I don't like Rocky 5, there are some really good moments in Rocky 5. Like
take the good stuff, let go of the bad shit.
Exactly. It reminded me of like a lot of those two movies, but it had its own twist on it. It was very unique. And yeah, it was awesome, man. Michael B. Jordan,
flick, man.
Awesome. Tessa Thompson,
good job, man.
Awesome.
Make a fucking Dragon Ball movie, bro.
Exactly.
I trust you.
The girl that was their daughter stole the movie from me.
Oh,
honestly.
she was great. Yeah,
she was awesome.
She's an
Every
actual deaf
scene
actress.
she was in was fucking amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
she's really good. Yeah,
I would say the only plot hole for me, it was like, where did the story go with like what happened with her like at school, and like I know,
Oh yeah, yeah.
like
she,
I know
yeah.
he came back and like
It's not
taught
super-
her to
yeah.
like fight,
Yeah.
but then at the end,
She
Tessa
probably
Thompson's character
fucked up some other kid at school.
Tessa Thompson's character was like, yeah, she's good, I'm cool with it.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they never really got back to that, and
Yeah.
never had a real sit down of like, hey, you don't just punch people like in the face. As much as I loved that scene of her just punching her,
Decking
that
her,
chick in the face, I
Yeah.
was like, okay.
I
Like,
do appreciate that he tried to bring the conversation into the movie, but I think it's maybe not the right movie to do so. Right, in a movie that essentially the plot gets solved by him punching the other guy harder. I think it's weird to try and bring in the conversation of like maybe punching things isn't the way to solve everything.
well, like it.
Yeah,
I
like-
mean, it makes sense. Like you have to like explain like, hey, this is like just what I do for like my job.
yeah.
Like I understand like I do this, but you just don't go to like to school and like just punch someone
people,
in the face.
I think
you know what I'm saying?
that like whole sequence would have held a lot more weight if somehow, I don't know how, but if somehow the final conflict of the movie was not resolved in the ring, like if at the end it'd be horribly disappointing because it's a fucking boxing movie, right? You want to see the big fight at the end. But if somehow, for some reason, Dame and Donnie decide to just like talk their shit out, I think that scene would have like held a lot more weight, right? But again, because at the end of the day, like Adonis Creed ends up just punching fucking Damian harder basically, and he's like, nah, bro, and he's like, all right, I respect you. Like,
Yeah.
it kind of just sends mixed messages a little bit. That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, Creed 3, definitely go see it in
Good
theaters.
shit.
It's a
Recommend it.
great experience. The soundtrack was awesome.
Dope. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Really, really good. I
Yeah.
love all the Nipsey Hussle in there. Shout out, rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. But yeah, that shit was awesome. And then another movie
Some
that we saw in
Cocaine
theaters,
Bear.
Cocaine
Oh,
Bear.
man. Good
That shit
shit,
was
dude.
fucking great.
Yeah. I had a great time watching that movie.
Beautiful movie. An hour and a half long.
Yeah, a nice little quick one, man. You don't got to worry about it too much.
A very unique story.
Apparently based on a true story. Yeah. Or based on true events.
based on true events.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they definitely.
Probably took
don't
some
think it-
liberties here and there.
Yeah, I don't think like a bear like actually went and killed hella people.
No,
like
no.
that.
Yeah, just got into some coke, that's all.
Yeah, definitely. But
yeah.
a very fun movie. I like that it's very much a comedy mixed with like a horror movie.
Yeah, I think it's a fun little like niche for like a genre blender,
Mm-hmm.
Does a lot of different things. It's like a family movie kind of.
Yeah.
Like has obviously a lot of comedy in it. It's very, very funny.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty gruesome too. Like I would even put it more in like the slasher category than just
Yeah.
straight horror, Like
Yeah,
it's just a lot
exactly.
of like people dying in crazy fucking ways and shit like that.
Yeah, it reminded me of like a lot of Jaws.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
for sure.
It was definitely giving Jaws vibes for sure. But
Even like fucking what is it? Friday the 13th, you
Yeah.
know? Like just slasher shit. Like just gory deaths for the sake of gory deaths, just kind of making you like, "Oh shit. Like damn, that just happened." Blah 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 and everything. So it was good, man. I thought the cast was super good. I don't think it was her directorial debut. Actually, I know it wasn't, but a very good entry from Elizabeth Banks. I don't know if she's been directing a whole lot over the last few years and everything, but I thought she did a really good job with this movie. I really, really enjoyed it.
damn, Jesse Tyler Ferguson played fucking.
Yeah, he was the
Played
park
Peter?
ranger, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
was
was
fucking
funny. He was
awesome.
good. He's a
Yeah.
little cheesy to me, a little corny, but I thought he was still funny for the most part.
Yeah, but the kids in this movie were awesome.
Oh,
Freaking
hilarious.
Christian Convery playing Henry, and
He
then
was super
Brooklyn
funny.
Prince playing Dee Dee. They
Yeah.
were fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
They were awesome. I love their little friendship. The scene with them like fucking scooping the coke into their mouth.
Oh, so
with
fucking
it was like hilarious, but like
cringy. Just
exactly.
Like, oh fuck, man.
Like so
Yeah.
hard to see. Like I'm
Yeah.
glad that there's movies like taking risks like that.
Yeah,
like you know, like,
fuck it, go for it.
obviously, kids
Don't do fucking
don't do fucking drugs.
We do
Hopefully,
not
kids aren't
endorse.
fucking listening
Yeah.
to this, you
Yeah.
know. But like, if you are a kid and you're listening to this, don't do drugs. Definitely
hit the
don't.
bathroom.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely don't scoop them into your mouth and cocaine. But yeah, the kids were awesome. A fun little Star Wars connection. Alden Enrich playing fucking Eddie. Yeah, playing fucking Han Solo. But yeah, the cast was great. Ray Liotta, rest in peace, Ray Liotta. The last movie he ever filmed. That's another reason why I wanted to go watch this movie. Like, he is such an iconic actor. You know, everything he's played, Goodfellas, freaking Field of Dreams, all that stuff. Like, he's he's just one of those ones, and we're so sad that we've lost him. But yeah, Ray Liotta, O'Shea Jackson Jr. If you guys have ever watched freaking Straight Outta Compton, he plays his dad. Actually, he plays Ice Cube. You have Christopher. I don't know how to say your last name, but he plays freaking. What's the guy's name from freaking? He's Jon Snow's friend, like the wildling, Jon Snow's wildling friend from Game of Thrones. But yeah, Alden Enrich. Alden Einrich. Yeah, that's his name. But yeah, this was a great movie. Had a lot of fun. It was super funny up until the very end. Yeah, you have some serious moments. One of the funniest parts to me was like the little cubs that were just in the freaking in the bag with the cocaine. Yeah. But God damn it, dude. Yeah, this was just a great movie. I would say this is like a 9 for me. Like, this was awesome. Like, I had so much fun with it.
Yeah.
I had some laughs. Obviously a little jump scares here and there, but even the parts that were like kind of gruesome had some comedic moments to it
for
too.
sure,
like you saw some characters die that you wanted to fucking die.
Yeah,
like,
they're like assholes though. Like
exactly.
the entire time where they're there. Yeah.
I loved the fucking what's the dude's name? David?
Oh yeah. O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Yeah, with his freaking jersey, like, oh,
I fucking love this jersey.
I fucking love this jersey. Yeah. He was fucking great in this movie.
He was funny,
man.
dude. Yeah, him and Alden Einrich's character. What is it?
Yeah.
Eddie.
Yeah.
They're probably the highlight for me. I think I like in terms of like the actual like character dynamics. I think they were the funniest to me. Just their group in general, especially once they get that fucking kid in there with them. What's his name? Stash. His name really Stash?
I think so.
I think that's him, right? The actor's name is Aaron Holiday.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just the three of them and like them trying to deal with obviously like Eddie like handling his wife's death and shit. Fucking hilarious, bro. It's probably some of the funniest parts in the movie for me, for sure.
Yeah, and I love like the fucking like just the funny like sexual jokes and shit like that. Like the one with like the ranger and fucking Peter.
Oh yeah.
When he's like, "Oh,
got a Dusty Beaver."
Yeah, you got a Dusty Beaver here, and it's like the beaver statue. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm working on that." Like, dude, I was fucking dying, bro. That shit was hilarious.
Dude, it's fucking good.
It was just a fucking great movie, a very unique movie. Like, I love the movies I'm seeing out that are like, you know, movies for the sake of making like good movies. You know, like obviously we're seeing good adaptations from like The Last of Us and stuff like that, but I feel like we're getting a lot of good like original like stories. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I like that this movie was not unwilling to take risks as well. You know, like there are some pretty heavily like raunchier jokes. You know, we talked about like the kids fucking eating cocaine, like the Dusty Beaver shit, right? Like that's not really something you see. I think in general, like mainstream Hollywood comedy has been like pretty diluted into like a lot more of like a safer space, which is, you know, arguably a good thing depending on where you're standing. Whatever you want to think, that's up to you. I don't give a fuck. But in this particular movie, I was down with the fact that they were making some raunchier jokes, like kind of going a little bit, pushing the envelope and shit like that. It was like it reminded me of like some of the old school like Judd Apatow movies, right? Like some of the crazier
like
jokes.
The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah,
and shit like
exactly.
That,
like there was some that you were like laughing at, but you're kind of like, damn, should I be laughing at that? Like,
oh, you gotta laugh at all.
Oh, that shit cracks me up. You know, like I enjoyed it. It was very, very good. I think it definitely pushed the envelope.
I really loved the opening scene with the dude like throwing the cocaine out of the freaking.
Just coked out of his mind
and just freaking like kicking some shit.
He's doing some karate shit, kicking the bags out.
And then right before he jumps out, just fucking hits
bonks
his head.
Yeah.
Oh god, hilarious. That shit was awesome. Like a fucking great way to open up the movie. Like
fuck yeah,
it lets you know like what this movie's about. Like you're gonna have some fun. Like this shit's funny. Obviously, there's gonna be some crazy shit.
Adventure.
There's gonna be some. It's gonna be a coke fueled adventure.
Yeah,
it was awesome. You had Christoph freaking. I don't know how to say his freaking.
Yeah, fucking
Christopher. He plays.
I'm forgetting his name.
I know from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
He's Jon Snow's homie. But, yeah, everyone in this movie was just freaking awesome, bro. Like I loved it. The end was, you know, heartwarming and everything like that. You know,
a little cheesy. I thought there was the one like not gripe because I've come to accept this with comedy movies, right? But like a comedy movie can't be just about jokes for an hour and a half or 2 hours. There has to be some kind of like emotional development that happens at one point or another. And I think, at least for me personally, and I think probably a good chunk of people out there, this is just something we've come to accept. But like every comedy movie, even the best of the fucking best, always has like that 20-30 minutes that like you get a little bored because it's like everybody has to start like having their touchy-feely moments of like, oh, it's okay, we're back together, this and that and whatnot. And like, while I don't think this movie like did the worst at that, I agree there are some heartwarming moments. I did still feel that drag, that classic,
Oh, yeah.
okay, we're in the touchy-feely bit now. Like, get me back to the ending and the jokes and whatnot and everything like that.
Exactly.
Only part that felt like a little flat for me. But again, not something that I don't come to expect from comedy movies at this point. So I loved it, man. It was fucking awesome.
It was a great time.
Hilarious.
You guys definitely got to go check that shit out in theaters.
Yeah.
It's out now. Go see it, especially for Ray Liotta. He plays a fucking awesome character.
His final performance, his fucking a posthumous performance for him. And he did a good job, too. I liked his performance. I thought he was a good, like, this caliber of bad guy, you know? Like, he's not like a evil, like, mustache twirling villain or anything like that. But he's a bad dude.
Yeah.
You know? But he's like a likable bad dude almost, you know?
He's a bad guy. It just doesn't mean he's a bad guy.
Yeah, you know, sometimes good people do bad things.
Yeah,
In this case, he's kind of like a bad person doing bad things, but it doesn't matter. You still like him.
Hey, he's still watching after his grandkid every now and then, but it's like, you know, sometimes his own son doesn't watch after his grandkid, his son, so it's like,
Exactly.
Fuck it. But yeah, go check that shit out, guys. And yeah, this has been definitely quite a long episode for episode number 50.
A big 5-0.
Hell yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. If you've listened to all 50 episodes, you guys
You're a
fucking
real
rock.
one, dude,
You guys
yeah.
are a fucking real one. And yeah, I can't wait for the next fucking 50
51.
episodes. We definitely have a lot of good things in store, a lot of good things planned. I'm just excited to keep going with this, man.
Yeah,
like,
man.
We just have a lot of movies to watch.
Plenty
a lot
that's
of things
gonna
keep
come
coming
out. Plenty
like-
we still haven't talked about. Plenty I haven't seen.
Exactly. Our schedules are going to open up more, so we're going to be able to do a lot more.
Pump
so
out some shit. Yeah, most definitely.
I'm ready, guys. I'm fucking
gonna be a
ready,
good year.
motherfuckers. But yeah, we will not be here next week because I will be out of town and I will be going on
vacation.
a much needed vacation. Not from the podcast.
No.
Honestly, if I had a choice, I would. If I had the
Fuck it,
opportunity,
we'll do a live episode.
I would still do.
We'll do a FaceTime
a
episode.
FaceTime
bro.
episode. Yeah, if I still could, if I wasn't going to be in another state, and if I was just taking just a week off from work, I would for sure be doing an episode next week. But I will literally be in another state, so there will be no episode next week. But the week after that,
We'll be back.
We'll be coming back
Yeah.
strong. Don't worry about it. Don't get scared. Don't get frightened. Everything's okay.
We'll come back.
We'll come back.
It's gonna be okay.
But yeah, guys, that was episode number 50. Thank you again for being here for all 50. Big milestone. Love it. Love it. Can't wait for the next 50. When
See
it's
you at
episode
100.
100.
Man. Yeah, exactly.
Woo! See you guys at 100.
Yep.
But yeah, this is one of your hosts, Ryan, and this is my other host over here,
Mr. Daniel.
Mr. Daniel, and we're motherfucking
Signing the fuck
signing
out. Peace.